Hey there, it's your friend Stormy Warren here, and I want to invite you to my new home, the Big 615, exclusively on TuneIn. So what is the Big 615? Well, simply put, it's the official home of country music broadcasting live from Nashville to the world. Download the TuneIn app from the App Store. That's TuneIn. And by the way, yes, it's free. You can also ask your device to play the Big 615 on TuneIn. Get the latest on country music, from your favorite artists to the hottest songs climbing up the charts. Oh, and it's commercial free. That means a whole lot more music and a whole lot more country. Hear it all on the Stormy Warren Show, weekdays from 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. Central. Download the TuneIn app from the App Store. That's TuneIn. And by the way, yes, it's free. You can also ask your device to play the Big 615 on TuneIn. And I look forward to having you join me on the Big 615.
This is your country station.
The Big 615.
Have you been in an accident that wasn't your fault? Feeling overwhelmed and unsure what to do next? Look no further. The personal injury attorneys at Phillips Law Firm are here to help. Phillips Law Firm understands that accidents can turn your life upside down. That's why they're dedicated to fighting for the compensation you deserve and to making the process as stress-free as possible. Don't wait any longer. Call now, 1-800-JUSTICE, or visit justiceforyou.com.
Hey, it's Mike Hawk. Join me every Thursday at 1 p.m. exclusively on the Odyssey app as we go live with Odyssey. Join in on the action as we cover interesting facts, top 10 lists, and some fun new games. Follow the Men's Room page on the Odyssey app and join in all the fun Thursday afternoons at 1.
Unfortunately, what you're about to hear is real. The members of this radio program are simply not that bright, or what some people would call educated. They are merely stupid. They're not trying to offend anyone on purpose. And all have played doctors on TV. You have been warned and are cordially invited to join the party. This is the Men's Room.
Forget it, man, and get with the countdown. Get with the countdown. Shake this square world and blast off for Kicksville. The trippers, the grasshoppers, the hip ones, all gathered in secrecy and flying high as a kite.
This is the Men's Room with Miles and Thrill. You know what they say, shake your radio more than 3 times, and you're playing with it. You're listening to the Men's Room.
And away we go. Welcome to Season 18, episode number 3890. Along with Steve the Throw Hill, the Ted Smith, and Mike Hawk. And you are in the Men's Room. On tap today, the return of Who Sucks Less. We will play Profile This, plus headlines, the Men's Room shot of the day, fun listener emails, and everyone's favorite, TV Time with Ted.
Click, clack.
All right, here we go. Restaurant opens in England, and you won't care that the food will probably suck. Meanwhile, an English woman starts a dating app with a guarantee that you will have coitus. Alabama man pulled over on a jet ski driving down Highway 98. When your plane departs 25 minutes early, that is not always great. And a man is pulled over drunk, dressed as a can of Bud Light. That is all coming on today's very special episode of The Men's Room.
And now, here's the question.
Hola, bitches. Good day to you and yours. All right, let's see. Drinking bleach, jumping into the tiger enclosure at the zoo, chewing razor blades. Now, these are some things that we know are dangerous. In fact, they're so dangerous that no sane person does it, and that's good. But then there's a whole bunch of things that are dangerous that we, the average person, do not know are potentially dangerous, well, until we find out. And dangerous, of course, does not mean life-threatening all the time. For example, I used to deeply enjoy the freedom of going commando. Until one day I zipped my junk on my jeans. It was a unique pain that I never wanted to experience again, and I've worn underwear ever since. Well, thanks to some personal testimonials shared on BuzzFeed, we have a list of seemingly innocent things that are super dangerous. And it includes everything from the danger of garage door springs to kitten bites to using too much force to poop. You'd be surprised at the potential risk, but we'll share the stories coming up. But there's all kinds of hidden or unknown dangers out there, whether you're like the teenager in North Carolina who was smothered under a collapsed sand dune, or you're one of the 420,000 people who got injured walking their dog. Or maybe you know damn well what you're doing is something dangerous, like base jumping or juggling chainsaws. Either way, today we want to know, what is the most dangerous thing you've ever done, whether you meant to or not?
Be part of the big show. Call 206-803-ROCK. Like the Men's Room on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Men's Room Live, and send those emails to the Men's Room at KISW.com.
Whether you're doing a dance to your favorite artist in the office parking lot, or being guided into Warrior One in the break room before your shift, whether you're running on your Peloton tread at your mom's house while she watches the baby, or counting your breaths on the subway.
Inhaling and long exhale out.
Peloton is for all of us, wherever we are, whenever we need it. Download the free Peloton app today. Peloton app available through free tier or paid subscription starting at $12.99 per month.
I was scared the night you overdosed, but I was prepared. I brought naloxone with me, and I knew how to use it. I held your hand tight when you woke up because I wanted you to feel safe. Your life is worth saving, friend, and I would save it again if I had to.
Naloxone can reverse an opioid or fentanyl overdose. Carry it with you. For more info, go to PreventOverdoseWA.org. A message from the Washington State Department of Health.
Men's Room with Miles and Thrill. 99.9 KISW.
Overtones, where we go. Welcome to Season 18, Episode number 3890. What a large and in charge program we have for you today on this beautiful Wednesday afternoon. Guaranteed future repeat, the exciting return of Who Sucks Less. Steve, I don't know how you do it. You find people in the news doing bad things.
Oh, yeah.
Then we pit three stories against each other to find out of the three, which one sucks the least. How are we looking this week?
Oh, they're all pretty bad. I mean, just straight up, man. They're bad.
Bad people doing bad things?
Bad people. I mean, not the worst people in the world, but probably in the top 10% of bad people, yeah.
Okay. All right. Who Sucks Less coming up. As we do every Monday through Friday, we'll head on over to the Odyssey app exclusively for the Men's Room Happy Hour and episode number 384. If you don't have the Odyssey app, download that now. It's absolutely free. Search for the Men's Room page. That's all things Men's Room. Ted's podcast, Megacast, the podcast is on there. Our Greatest Story Never Told podcast, as well as the weekly Best Of and our daily podcast. You can listen to KISW in the Men's Room anywhere in the United States when you travel. If you've got the Odyssey app, and you can catch up on old episodes there as well. We have a Men's Room radio channel, which is something we curated. We all got to pick 25 songs, and it's quite the eclectic mix of music, to say the least. So some time on the weekend, you want to check out some pretty cool tunes, check out the Men's Room radio channel as well. And you'll also find the Men's Room Happy Hour page on there, and that goes live every Monday through Friday at 6. Keep in mind, there's a reason that is labeled explicit based on the language and the content. So hopefully we'll see you coming up for the Men's Room Happy Hour. What a surprise we have for you today on the Men's Room Happy Hour.
Oh, yes, we do.
I'm going to be surprised. You're going to be surprised. We're all going to be surprised.
Surprised.
It's going to be very surprising, yes. And today on the question, we're going to talk about what is the most dangerous thing that you have ever done, whether you meant to or not. 206-803-ROCK. Oftentimes, you know when an element of danger is near. You know what you're doing. Circumstantially, it could be a dangerous venture for sure. Other times, you get yourself in a situation where you didn't realize how dangerous it could be.
You're right.
That was not your intent. Maybe you're just trying to go over the past one weekend.
Yeah, no kidding.
I mean, just something as basic as that. Just depending on, sometimes it's in your control, other times it is not. But either way, you know when you're in a situation where it's like, oh God, if you've ever been caught in a rip current before. There's all kinds of situations where, especially when dealing with bodies of water and all kinds of things. If you get thrown from a raft while you're, whitewater rafting or whatever the deal is, yes, you know there's an inherent danger.
But you didn't think it would happen.
You just don't expect to be the one that's spinning around underneath a rock, and somebody trying to pull your ass out of there, whatever the deal is. So basically that's the question today, whether you meant to or not. I know for a fact that the Mike Hawk, you like going down to the Bandon area.
Indeed.
You've told the story multiple times about taking the dune buggy out and riding the dunes.
Yeah, ran down to KISW, Oregon, out there at the sand dunes that are out there by the beach. And we were riding ATVs, four-wheelers out there, and it was a great time. I've always loved going down there, and these dunes can get all the way up to like 30 feet high. And we were riding out there. It was myself, my mom, and my dad, and a family friend, and we were going up one of them, and it was kind of a two-tiered deal as it went up there. And I'm riding up this deal, and they went out and around and just kind of broke off from the group real quick. But as I'm cresting the first bit of that first tier, I looked over at my mom real quick, and I could see her kind of giving me the two-hand wave,
right?
Like, hey, stop what you're doing. So I kind of proceed with a little bit more caution as I go up, and then all of a sudden, as I'm going up, I just see the tops of trees about 30 feet below me. and there is nothing in between me and them. And so I jam on the brakes, and I kid you not, I pushed sand off of the edge of a cliff. The wind was blowing so hard up against this dune that it was literally blowing it off, and it looked like it had a false floor to it.
But that was just sand blowing through the air.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
how far would you have fallen? Probably like 40 feet, 50
yeah,
feet?
so I would not be here today. I am positive of that.
All right. Ted, you go from the hot to the cold. You were on a snowmobiling expedition.
Same thing, right? Snowmobiling up above Lake Chelan.
Mm-hmm.
So 2 things happened. Number one, I went into a corner too hard. It threw me off the snowmobile, and that snowmobile landed upside down on the edge of a cliff.
How close were you to
upside down?
Right. But that first thing that happened, I wasn't that close to the cliff. The sled almost went over.
Yeah.
So then the rest of the trip, like, they're rallying pretty tough. I was going pretty slow. So I was like, because I honestly, the first one was way on me. I was going way too fast. So then there's a couple points that are steep. Like, you got to gun it to get up there.
Yeah.
So they stop at like a vantage point to look out, and I said, I'm just going to keep going. So on that trail, I decide that I'm going to go back. And I mean, that back end of that sled fell off the side there of the trail. And luckily I gunned it and it pulled me out. But same thing like Mike. Like, I mean, even talking about it right now, it's like, right, if I had gone down that ravine, I would be dead.
Right, still freaks you out.
Nobody, right, because they wouldn't have known.
Mm-hmm. Oh, God, that's a good point, right.
You wouldn't have known at what point did I veer off this trail.
Right. And Steve, on the flip side, speaking of Ted almost killed you when we went up to Evergreen Speedway. All we were going to do was do a little racing, maybe 5-6 laps around the track. Next thing I know, I look over, and Steve has rolled that car at least 4 or 5 times.
7.5 times.
7.5
the guy
times.
let me know. Right, because those top speeds were like 40 miles an hour.
Well, there were
They're
4-cylinder Hornets, I believe.
Yeah, whatever.
Hornets,
they call them,
because
right?
they're yellow cars.
So you're going like 40 miles an hour, whatever. Like, how bad could it be? And they're low to the ground. Right. So
oval track.
They have the roll cage, all this kind of thing. I'm glad that roll cage was there. But yeah, that car, in my mind, I flipped over once, but I was told later it was 7.5 times, which oddly enough, at the event we were at, they had a flipping competition.
Rollover contest.
Yeah, the rollover contest. And that guy, I want to say, did it like 3 times, and he won. I'm like, well, I did it 7.5. Can I get whatever he won? Mm-hmm. I did it much better. Oh, granted, I had an assist from Ted, but still.
I was going to say, you're welcome, dude.
Yeah, that's looking back, it was less dangerous than I thought it was because of the roll cage. Honestly, I cannot express how much that thing. But I remember when the car went airborne, and I realized, like, I was upside down. All I could think is, this is going to be it, man. Mm-hmm. And if it's not it, this is going to hurt like a bitch. And then the windshield exploded, and the car stopped moving. It's dead silent, and I'm like, whoa,
yep.
Not so bad. The most damage I got from that, believe it or not, the firemen show up. And, are you okay? And I'm like, dude, believe it or not, I am absolutely fine. He's like, look, we got to get you out of there. I'm like, understood, but I have to take off the seatbelt. Now, keep in mind, I'm upside down, and all the broken glass is below me. Mm-hmm. That's where I got cut up. I dropped maybe, 8 inches, but directly into broken glass. Like,
Right.
That's the only thing that hurt.
I think the most terrified that I've ever been in my life.
It's kind of funny now. I even said that to the
it's
fireman.
always been funny to me.
I know, but I even told the guy, I'm like, dude, I'm going to fall into broken glass. And he's like, bro, there's nothing I can do, man.
The only unfunny part, and from my side of the story, you got to remember, we're 4 of us, Rubbin is racing, Mike, but also...
I raced my penis this morning, in fact.
I had a fast car, and the guy said, hey, and it's a stick. I rarely drive. So he goes, just get in second, and just stay in second. Don't really slow down. So, I mean, I was out there going crazy. Now, as I cut in front of Thrill, I do not see him flip. I just hear the crowd go, ooh.
And then a big cloud of dust.
Right, but I don't see any of that. It's behind me, dude. So in my mind, I'm
I like how you just point that out.
Yeah, in my mind, I'm like, I'm the best driver out here.
Are you thinking the crowd's doing for you?
Yes.
Like, oh,
like look at Ted, because to me it was a good race move. And then when I pulled up to the line, they stopped us. And Miles goes, I think you killed him. And I was like, what?
Well, there's no windows in the car. I pulled up beside Ted. I was like, and the yellow flag goes up, and I'm like, you killed Steve, Ted.
I don't forget, I also spun you out, and then I got black flag.
Right, yeah.
Did you?
Yeah, they disqualified me because
I'm sorry, I wasn't there for the rest of the race.
Mm-hmm. Hey, look, when I learned to race from Days of Thunder, that's how I learned to race.
Okay.
Yeah, didn't realize that track was full of pansies.
I think I grew up on this. I grew up on like a mountain lake,
right?
And the 2-lane road that went down, it was a pretty severe road that went all the way down to a bridge. But as kids, we ride our bikes down there,
Sure,
go down
of course.
swimming for the summer and everything else. Think of it like more like a 2-lane road that's going around Lake Tahoe, maybe. But it's there's a lot of elevation involved. Probably 800 feet to 1,000 feet from the top of the road down to the bridge. Now the bridge makes a direct right-hand turn.
Oh, that sounds safe.
It's a 15-mile-an-hour turn at the bottom, and there is a concrete barrier that keeps you from going straight.
Sure.
All right, so you've got to make that right-hand turn on the bridge. I'm going down the hill. I'm applying the brake. I'm flying. I got my Ross bike with my flag on the back and everything else. I'm not wearing a shirt. I am wearing flip-flops because I'm going swimming, and I've got
safety first.
Swim trunks on. So there's nothing else but just swim trunks, and that's me, and I got a towel wrapped around my neck. When I went to brake at one point in time, the chain on my bike popped off. Now, keep in mind, this is a fairly common thing that would happen on a one-speed bike.
For sure.
If you didn't pull your wheel back far enough and tighten it right or whatever the deal was, chain just falls off. Now I have no brakes. Now, this is about a 45-mile-an-hour speed limit road. I am flying down a hill. I'm easily going 45 miles an hour. There's no way about it. So I'm looking at my options. My heart's beating 1,000,000 miles an hour. A car comes past me. Keep in mind, on these switchbacks, I'm taking the inside lane a lot of the time, which is speeding me up. But I'm trying to I'm trying to navigate these turns because I can't slow down. So I decided that I was kind of going to do kind of like a hop skip and see if I couldn't spin my back tire out and start braking it as if you were trying to stop, like skiing, if that makes sense.
All right.
And then if I can pull it, I'm going to go into the ditch on the left. The right is a guardrail. That guardrail drops off of a cliff that goes straight down to the lake, at least 50 to 60 feet, at least. So if I were to go into the guardrail, there's one thing that's going to happen.
You're going to flip over.
I'm going to flip over it. I'm going to go over the handlebars. I'm going to go over top of the guardrail. I'm going to fly into a tree or fly off that cliff into the water. I thought about that as an option. Like, do I Superman jump? Right. Because all these thoughts are going through my head. So I try to do I jump the bike, try to kick out the back tire with my feet. It catches. All right. But I go flying forward.
Of course.
For whatever reason, I cleared everything because the handlebars are to my left. I basically did a roll off my shoulder. Now, I'm not wearing a shirt. And then I slid on my ass into the ditch for at least 30 feet before I then went down a ravine about 6 feet and ended up in a stream. Now, my bike, believe it or not, there was nothing wrong with my bike.
Are you kidding?
It went right into the
Except
side.
that chain.
It went right inside the hill. But there was no damage to the bike.
Yeah.
Absolutely none. I am completely effed up. I've lost skin on my knees. I've lost skin on my shoulders. I've got a huge rash on my forehead and on my cheek from when I slid on the ground. I'm in gravel and everything else because it was early summer, so it was still a lot of, they used cinders, believe it or not, instead of salt, because I couldn't afford that. So there's a lot of dust particles on the road still at that point in time. I mean, I was absolutely just completely road rashed. I had pebbles in my skin that needed to be dug out. But I lived. But I mean, right. You don't understand, the fact that I did not have a concussion, the fact that I did not knock myself out, or any of those things is a freaking miracle.
I think it's because you're a kid.
It's a miracle.
Honest to God. And I do feel like, especially on a bike, if you have to make something goes wrong, I feel like kids make better decisions because as kids, we did dumb things on the bike anyway. You know what I mean? Stand on the seat, stand under handlebars. So it's a terrifying situation, but I just feel like as a kid, you're better equipped to make a crazy decision about how to bring the bike to the stop because even when your bike worked completely fine, we still did really dumb ass on our bikes.
And believe it or not, if there's a positive aspect to the story, it is the fact that when I hit, my towel was still wrapped around my neck.
Right.
So when I hit on my shoulder, my towel was still kind of somewhat protecting
like a
my
little
neck
buffer
and my back area a little.
All
bit.
right.
So it still took off the skin. It still did all that stuff. But the towel saved the initial blunt of the force when I hit the road.
I know my mom figured out that because I was probably 8 years old, had my bike, same thing. My buddy lived at the top of a hill. The hill was nowhere near as long as what you're talking about. We just lived at the bottom of the hill to maybe 300 yards. I don't know. But she walked up to my buddy's house. It's dinner time. No big deal. I'm a kid. I love riding my bike. So she decides to hop on the back seat, and she's going to ride down with me, right? So I'm not giving this much thought. She's screaming, she's yelling, but kind of having fun. But the one thing, and when you're a kid, man, if you're riding down a hill and you pull into a driveway, you're going to slam on your brakes because you like to skid.
You got to skid.
I mean, every kid on earth, that's what you're going to do. And I always did it instinctively. But again, at this point, I forget that my mother is sitting behind me on that big-ass banana seat we had. So I slam on the brakes and I skid in, and she goes flying the hell off the...
No.
Oh, yeah. hits the driveway, like rolls a couple times, and came to a stop when she crashed into the mailbox. So I realized she was okay. So I ran into the house because she looked pissed, man. I mean, she looked like I did it on purpose, which I did not. I wasn't thinking. But I ran into the house. My father kind of sees me zip by. He's like, whoa, what's going on? Then he hears my mother coming through the garage, man. Just like, God damn it, where's Steven? He's like, what'd you do? I explained it to him real quick. Luckily, he started laughing and calmed her down. But, I mean, she's, like, looking over his shoulder at me like, I will kill you in your sleep, mother. And I'm like, I didn't do it on purpose.
And when you don't mean to, I told you, one time we were at the beach, right? So the condo buildings or whatever, the places you rent.
Yeah.
They're like, they could be like 5-6 stories.
Sure.
So it's me and my sister sitting on the 3rd floor. There's my mom and dad out at the car. And I have a little G.I. Joe with me. And I go, hey, I bet I could throw this from here and hit mom.
How old were you when you were
8?
Okay.
Right? Like, I'm trying to think. Kind of around the time you realize, how should I phrase it? Some things aren't real.
Okay. Yeah.
So I think
that's
8,
about
9.
Yeah. Okay.
But anyhow, it wasn't supposed to hurt her. It was just supposed to be funny.
Yes, it's not supposed to, yes.
Right. I didn't take into account the 3rd floor distance. Miles would be impressed. It was a nice shot. Nice throw.
Yeah.
But it bopped her right on the top of the head. And same thing, like she was. I think to this day, I don't know that I've seen my mom that pissed at me.
Really?
Oh my God, she was pissed.
Hey, but you have good aim.
Well, and I think honestly, and looking back on it, I think they were already having an argument by the car.
Man, there's no worse timing.
Right? I'm like,
I will say this about the bike spill I took. And I used to bitch about our gym teacher. He was actually, although the fact I'm pretty sure he was a pedophile, Mr. Munchin, his curriculum was every single week. Mr. Munchin, you learned he was the guy at the clipboard who'd sign you in, give you a shower for a shower, and stand outside the shower when you walked in. Anyway, though, every week was a different sport. And you learned all the rules of the sport. You played the sport, and then you took a test on Friday about the sport.
Yeah.
One week it was badminton. The next week it was learning how to play cricket,
lacrosse,
every single thing.
We did the same thing at DeMatha.
And sometimes I'd bitch because one week it would be like ballroom dancing or lion dancing or some crap. But we did this tumbling class, like gymnastics, basic gymnastics, and learned how to shoulder roll and learned how to dive roll.
Yeah.
And all these different
things. You say Mr. Munchin helped you out in that?
We had just that year done all the gymnastics and the tumbling, and I kind of liked it, man, because you jump off boxes and learn how to shoulder roll and all this stuff. I'm pretty sure by flying with your arms out and learning how to catch yourself and shoulder roll, which I did in gym class, that pretty well saved me.
Yep. Did you thank Mr. Munchin?
I did not. No, I never saw Mr. Munchin again. I think he transferred out of there at some point.
I had a gym teacher had similar situation.
Next guy was Mr. DeSantis. He was pretty cool, too. Our question, what is the most dangerous thing that you've ever done, whether you meant to or not? 206-803-ROCK.
No one likes debt. One way to help get out of debt is to move it all to a lower interest credit card. KISW Credit Union's Visa card has one of the lowest interest rates in the nation, so you can consolidate your debt into a lower monthly payment and spend your money on more important things, like family vacations and movie nights. Make the switch to a KISW Credit Union Visa and save more for the things that really matter. Go to kitsapcu.org to apply or swing by any of the KISW Credit Union locations. Insured by NCUA.
This is the Men's Room with Miles and Thrill.
Our question, what is the most dangerous thing that you've ever done, whether you meant to or not? 206-803-ROCK.
Hello, Tom. Welcome to the Men's Room.
Howdy.
Hola.
Hola.
So what's the most dangerous thing you've ever done?
Well, I've done a lot of stupid stuff, but this particular case, I was up in northern Alberta, and I was filming black bears, and I was actually there also on a kind of working with an outfitter, guiding bear hunters and up in the northern part of Alberta. And this particular day, I went into an area just to film, so I didn't have anything but my camera equipment, and I approached a tree that I had pre-installed a portable tree stand, and unbeknownst to me, when I was coming into that area, I had inadvertently spooked a sow and 2 cubs that were in there, and the 2 cubs went up the tree that I was going to climb up, and the sow went the other way. So I climbed the tree, and when I got up in the tree, I heard something above me, and I looked up, and I had 2 bear cubs above me, and at that point, I heard the sow, and she proceeded to climb the tree to get her cubs back.
What are you thinking to yourself when you see a bear climbing a tree to get to her kids?
Well, I've had that happen before. Actually, wild bear hunting, sometimes they're curious and they'll climb up and they'll look and sniff and they'll climb back down. But I never had bear cubs above me, and I didn't have anywhere to go because I'm hanging off the side of a tree. So I was, I guess, in autopilot at that point. I stood up, kind of yelled, and extended the legs of the tripod and started pushing on the bear that was trying to climb up. And I had the camera rolling at this point, so I have a lot of this footage captured, which is kind of cool to look back on. But eventually the cubs started to scoot down the tree toward my head because they wanted to get past me. And when I got the sow to back off and drop back down to the ground, they skirted down the backside of the tree, and they rejoined, and they all took off. And I sat in the tree for about 2 hours, just kind of collecting myself before I eventually climbed down and left.
I'd still be up there if it were me.
Yeah.
God damn, man. So the distance between you and the bear is the length of your tripod?
Oh, no. Like, I had to move my feet because I'm on a little portable platform, an 18 by 24 inch metal tree stand platform that hangs up on the side of the tree, and she's hanging onto that thing. So, she has to hold on. So in a way, I kind of had the advantage because she can't just let go. Otherwise she'll fall. So I just realized that, okay, she can't really do much to me because she's hanging on the side of this tree. And eventually she just realized that she couldn't really get to her cubs, so she left.
Yeah. Man, there's bears everywhere in there. I did a week up in not that far to Alberta, but I was in Jasper, and they don't have any hotels there. Maybe the closest hotel is Lake Louise and the Fairmount, which is about $350 a night. I know because I spent the night there once, one night. Okay, normal hotel, normal shower. But at this place we went to, it was a central cabin that was the place where you checked in, and they had lockers, and they also had some coffee in the morning.
Why were you there?
Because I was up there just checking out Jasper and Banff and Lake Louise, but there's no hotels.
Okay.
In Banff there is.
Oh, there's Banff, I get.
Yeah.
Right.
But, so there's maybe 15 individual cabins on this property.
Does plywood style?
No, a
little better than that.
Yeah, a little bit better, but as far as the doors, and they had locks on windows with, shutters that closed and all that stuff. But you had to leave all of your food in a locker at the main cabin. And the guy was adamant about this. Even with my wife and I, he's like, look, you tell me you don't have a Snickers bar in your bag or a bag of chips or anything like that, because you can go in there and you can eat them now, but you can't have them overnight. And so I didn't think much of it. I'm like, all right, I don't think I have any food in my bag or anything like that. We do have some food, but it was in the car.
Yeah.
So it wasn't the worst thing. But when we get to the cabin, the entire front door is shredded like someone, took a rake and just pulled the wood down with their...
Give me your Oreos!
With their bare hand. And there was...
Pun intended?
Yeah, there was wood scrapings and wood shards on the porch when I walked up, and I thought, man... Somebody had food in this the last time.
Yeah,
there was a bear basically trying to break down their front door at this cabin. It was the cabin I was staying in. And I could not believe the damage to that door. I mean, if you could see the grooves in the wood and how far that bear scratched that door down. I mean, they were spiraled shards of wood on the porch.
Is there any food that bears don't like? So in other words, if you opened a bag of blank, would they not? Because it seems like no matter what you eat, bears are like, I want to eat that.
Right.
I mean, the bear from last week just didn't like diet soda.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But he tried one first.
Right. And then when you go to the front desk, they have a bear sheet. So any trail that you were going to hike that day or anywhere you were going to go, any national park in Canada, they had an updated list of bear sightings that everyone reports. It's just something you do. When you get to the trailhead, there's a bulletin board, and that area is completely marked with pins as far as the last place that people saw bears. So they have push pins in the corkboard. And if you see a bear... Where you see it, you put the push pin in, and you go down there, and the entire goddamn map is covered in push pins. They've run out of push pins.
But you never got to see one?
I never saw a bear, but they are there.
Oh, for sure,
they are there. What is the most dangerous thing that you've ever done, whether you meant to or not? 206-803-ROCK.
It also kind of sucked to die because you forgot you had a Nutri-Grain bar in your backpack.
Right, just some small dumbass thing.
But it's beautiful as it is. It's not a calm hike.
Right.
Every single noise you hear, you are on a swivel, man.
Of course.
And it's beautiful, and you want to just be able to relax and sit down. No.
You went to the wrong place.
I could not. I mean, I didn't even want to get off the trail to pee.
What time of year were you up there?
In the summer.
It was like August?
Probably, yeah. Or
I mean, that's the tough part, right? You can't go up there in the winter and hike when the bears are asleep.
They close those roads.
Yeah, like you're not getting, I mean, I just looked it up. Like, you're not getting into that town. But also, like, I would think the best time to go is like late August, early September when bears are like, we got to get fat before the winter.
Yeah.
Is that when they started unloading?
It's one of the most beautiful places I've ever seen in my life. But to be out of nature, what
bears,
you want to do,
right?
It's not. It's there's an element of fear for sure.
Well, sure,
and it's justified.
Let me ask you this: could you, like, if I was in Canada and I was like out in the woods for days, like, could I apply special for like a bear gun?
I don't know.
Or bear?
I'm
I guess
assuming,
bear makes.
I'm
bear
assuming
gun.
you would need something. You
Well, like, a lot of Alaskans, like I have a friend of a friend lives in Alaska, and he's like, I own all these weapons because he's like. Like, if I take my four-wheeler out, like, I got to have a shotgun in there because of bears.
Right. I mean, I think you need a gun more on the Appalachian Trail for crazy people. But I mean, if I'm hiking up there, you definitely need something. You need something to spook them. And they say, wear bells, and they have all these different things. I'm just like, that just tells them you're not going to surprise them.
To me, it sounds like a dinner bell. Somebody here, by the way, was saying, what do bears not eat? Right. I was going to say Brussels sprouts. I refuse to believe they like Brussels sprouts. Someone here says, look, every time the bear that gets into my garbage can in Issaquah, he eats everything. Except the vegetables.
Huh.
All right.
Well, the vegetables are out there. They can eat them if they want.
I don't think they want to.
I don't think they do either. What is the most dangerous thing that you've ever done, whether you meant to or not? 206-803-ROCK. Did you read the story about the bear who broke into the car and drank all of the sodas?
Yeah, except the diet.
Except for the diet sodas.
And what was the one with the beer? What was the...
It was like Bush. The bear ripped
drank all the Rainier, right?
But and did not drink the Bush.
Or wouldn't drink the Bush or something.
Was it Bush?
Something like that.
I wonder if Soda Bear saw that and was like, you know what?
I don't like diet. Yeah,
I'll make a point.
Right. Hello, Jeff. Welcome to the men's room.
Hey, how you doing?
Hola.
Hola, bitches. So, when I was back in my high school days, me and my crazy buddies used to go to the Minnesota Kick soccer game. After the game was over, we'd hop some razor wire fences into the international airport, and then we'd have to jog about a mile to the landing strip. And then when we got there, we would lay down on the runway and wrap our legs around the blue lights that are the beginning point of the runway. And when the first plane came over our head, we realized it was a couple 100 feet over, so we thought we'd run down the runway a little bit farther, but we were smart enough to go to the outside of the fog line. So a plane would come every 2 to 3 minutes, and then about the third or fourth plane that landed, I'm pretty sure it was a 747, because when that thing landed and put on its reverse thrusters, our bodies kind of flopped up and down on the side of the runway, and we all looked at each other and freaked out and decided we weren't going to do this anymore.
Right. Well, at least you came to a quick decision.
Was that indoor soccer?
No, that was outdoor soccer at the old Metropolitan Stadium, which is now the Mall of America.
Okay, all right.
Is that where the Mall of America is? The old stadium site? Okay, all right.
I wasn't familiar with that team.
No, not at all.
Okay. What is the most dangerous thing that you've ever done, whether you meant to or not? 206-803-ROCK.
Where's the beach where the planes come in? Is it like Brazil or something like that?
I thought it was somewhere in the Caribbean.
It might be. Every time I see video of that, like you're just on a beach, and this is a normal beach with thousands of people splashing around, and I'm not sure exactly where the airport is located, but the planes have made their final descent, and these things, I swear, it looks like they're like maybe 70 feet above these people.
Well, I tell you what, though.
It is very low.
It is crazy to me.
The Montego Bay Airport is a lot like John Wayne Airport in California, where you have to, but Montego Bay is because of the bay. So the mountains are pretty substantial there, the Blue Mountains. So when you drop in, it's over the water, but you are dropping down at an unbelievable rate toward the water. And it just looks like you're doing a nosedive into the Gulf of Mexico. Then all of a sudden they pull up, man, and hard brake it into this really, really small runway. I mean, you're happy you're going on vacation.
But you didn't expect that, did you?
But flying into there is the equivalent of like how fast they drop you at John Wayne, or how fast when you take off, it almost feels like it almost feels like you are laying back.
Right.
Like the nose of the plane is above you. It's straight up. It's just the way they shoot that thing up.
It's like, you ever flown Southwest into Midway, Chicago?
Same difference.
Not O'Hare. Midway.
Yeah. No.
Oh, it is frightening.
Really?
Same thing, because that's the old airport.
Yeah.
So it's just a whole neighborhood, houses, row houses. And it's the same thing. You're just kind of cruising, and then you just drop.
Yeah, I don't like that.
No, I don't need them.
Yeah.
Especially in a city that's so windy. What is the most dangerous thing that you've ever done, whether you meant to or not? 206-803-ROCK.
Oh, dude, it's in San Martin. Mono Beach.
Where the planes come in super low?
Maho. M-A-H-O.
M-A-A. I have no idea where that is.
San Martin.
Okay, no idea where that is. I don't know if that's Atlantic Pacific.
So the Dutch side of the island, dude.
Oh, I see. That explains it. Hello, Nick. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola.
Hola.
All right. So to give you a little background, I assemble machines for the company Black Brothers, and they're basically laminate machines, putting laminate on.
Isn't that a double negative?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Black Brothers. Some of the kind. Why don't they just call them brothers?
I mean, I don't know. This was 140 years ago.
Okay.
But anyways, they're built by steel and put together, and I assemble them. We build our own control panels for them. Most of these machines run at 460 volts AC. Kind of powerful. Well, the last machine I'd worked on, it was sitting in a spot waiting to be shipped, and it was finally time to ship it. So I went to disconnect power. Normally, you disconnect the power and put the plug between your legs, and you go inside the panel and disconnect it live, or not live, but disconnect it dead. Thursday morning, I just went in there, disconnected it with live power on.
Oh.
Got the negative off, or all three phases off, and the ground, and then it arced across my Apple Watch.
Oh.
Yeah.
Did it blow you back at all? Did you get any damage from this?
The only thing I got was a little bit of a burn on my arm.
Did the watch survive?
Surprisingly, it did. My watch is still working fine.
Damn. See, that's a surprising part of it. Did it say, "Are you okay?" on it?
Right.
Yeah, I'm fine. I mean,
no, I'm saying, did the watch do that?
Because Apple likes to say your heart rate has spiked.
Right. I was in Lake Chelan for 15 minutes. I got an alert on my watch, and I looked down and it says, "You appear to be underwater." I thought, what good is that if I'm at the bottom of the lake?
I don't know. How does that help?
Yes, I'm down here.
Now, what happens if you don't respond to your app? If it says, "Hey, man, you are underwater. We know you're not a fish." Do you have to respond and say, "Man, like, everything's cool," or it's just pointing out?
I just had never gotten that alert before, and I was like, I'll be damned. And if I am drowned at the bottom of the lake, do you really think I'm going to hit yes or no?
Yeah.
Like, are you drowning? Yeah, exactly. Wait a minute, hold on, man. I got to hit my watch.
Right.
Instead of swim.
Hello, Daniel. Welcome to the men's room.
Liquor and whores.
Liquor and whores.
Happy Positive Day Wednesday.
Sure.
Hell yeah, man. Nice day outside.
All right. It is beautiful. So aside from jumping off of numerous bridges in the Pacific Northwest into the rivers down below, I'd have to say that jumping onto and off of a moving train was one of the most dangerous things I'd done.
How fast was the train going, do you think?
I'd say maybe about 10, because it was hard for me to...
Hang on.
Once again, Metro Colors, here are the 7 words you can't say on the radio. Sucker, mother, and please keep those words in mind when calling. Now, back to the program.
All right, no more brown words there, but so you said about 10 miles an hour you ran to catch it, and then were you jumping from car to car or what?
No, we were down in Mukilteo. We were having fun down there at the beach, and the girl I was with, her and I, we decided that we wanted to after numerous beers, that we would catch the train going to Edmonds. And so, well, there goes by a cargo train, and so we just ran as fast as we could and leaped up onto the railings there, and she made it just fine. I ended up like doing a flop. I actually got on it, but my feet, I slipped and it was really close. I could have lost my legs, I'm sure of it. And then jumping off was, oh my gosh, that was like a really nasty tuck and roll towards the water side. because the rocks there along the railroad tracks, they're so enormous. I mean, I'm talking about the ones around the ties that actually, cross.
They have to be to support the weight of the train.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, these things are massive.
Well, I have a question.
They're like as big as baseballs and stuff like that.
You know you have to jump off the train eventually. Yes, they will go through Edmonds, but it doesn't stop at the Amtrak station.
Right.
So, I mean, it's not going to stop.
But you don't give it a lot of thought until you're there. You know what I mean? Like, it's only going 10 miles. Like I said, my buddy and I did roughly the same thing years and years and years ago. Me and my friend Leon, we were at a place called Hammerjacks. We lived about 3 miles away. Late at night, the train's going by, and like he said, maybe 10, 15 miles an hour. Got a running start. We jump on the back. He got one car, I got the other, and you're just hanging onto the ladder. No big deal. We know the train's going to stop at Penn Station, which is very close to where we are going. So we're like, perfect. What we forgot about, the last part of the train ride, it goes under a thing called the Howard Street Tunnel. Well, it's pitch black in there, and now the sound of the train, and it's unbelievable, but it occurred to me, I don't know if Leon is still holding on to the ladder. Because you can't see anything. It doesn't matter if you yell, bless your dad. It doesn't matter if you yell, you can't hear anything. It finally pulls into the station. It's kind of dim, and I see his head poke around, my head pokes around. We see each other. We almost broke into tears.
We're live.
Because he was like, I was thinking the same thing about you, man. Like, oh, I hope he's still there.
What is the most dangerous thing that you've ever done, whether you meant to or not? 206-803-ROCK.
Everyone needs a checking account. Wouldn't it be great if it made you some extra money every month? When you set up a gold checking account with KISW Credit Union, you can earn up to $495 per year in dividend earnings when you maintain a $15,000 balance. It's a checking account that's better than free, with a high rate, no monthly service fees or minimum balance requirements, and a best-in-class mobile banking app. Open your gold checking online today at kitsapcu.org. KISW Credit Union, powering life's opportunities.
Hey y'all, it's Garth. I love the country music family. I love the country music family of artists and the country music family of songs. Some of the greatest artists to ever grace music are under the flag of country music. And some of the greatest songs in music history are under the flag of country music. The Big 615, you're going to hear the newest that country music has to offer. At the same time, you're going to hear the newest that the country classics have to offer. I want to hear the new single from George Strait, and I want to hear it right beside the new single from Luke Combs. And I think the country music family is one of those families that is very inclusive and wants both the established artists and the new artists to be side by side in this thing we call country music.
Download the TuneIn app from the App Store. That's TuneIn. And by the way, yes, it's free. You can also ask your device to play the Big 615 on TuneIn.
Dealing with an accident and injury claim can be overwhelming. Let Phillips Law Firm fight for you. We understand the pain and suffering, and we're here to guide you through. Call 1-800-JUSTICE today for a free case review, or visit justiceforyou.com and let Phillips Law Firm help you on the road to recovery.
What's up? It's your boy, the Ted Smith. Thanks for listening to the Men's Room Daily Podcast. Want more? Check out the greatest podcast in all the land, The Podcast. Be sure to subscribe and listen to a brand new episode every Tuesday night.
99.9 KISW. We return to the men's room with Miles and Thrill.
Our question, what is the most dangerous thing that you've ever done, whether you meant to or not? 206-803-ROCK.
Couple of texts here. The most dangerous thing I did, not knowing was dangerous, as chugging beer and whiskey. Ended up in the ER with alcohol poisoning and a ruptured rectal cavity.
Oh, man.
They finished that with fun times.
Nobody says that's a good idea. That is not recommended.
Ever. Let's see. I worked for the Forest Service for a while, and while doing it, hiked into the crater of Mount St. Helens and had lunch at the base of a lava dome. Well, at the time, it was still considered active. Okay. Let's see here. I have a story kept secret of a big mobile. All right, I have a story which I kept secret for several years. I was running a big mobile paper shredder. Tried to clear a jam by climbing into the hopper. Not a very good idea, but at least you live to tell the tale. Hello, Tracy. Welcome to the men's room.
Hey, guys. How are you?
Hola.
So, last year on Father's Day, I was on my motorcycle riding northbound on Military, and a guy came out of a stop sign, turned head on into me, and I flew 100 feet off my bike.
How fast were you going?
53.
And did you seriously just launch into the air like Superman?
Yeah, it was more like the greatest American hero because it was less controlled than Superman.
So your arms were more flailing.
No, they were just kind of down on my sides, actually.
That's a good look.
Flying through the air, and as the world's flying by on my helmet, I'm like, wow, this is really cool. This is not going to end well. And then I skipped and rolled and landed. And miraculously, no broken bones.
That is amazing. Really? I guess your bike was totaled.
Yeah, very sad about that.
Did you total their car?
You know, it was an '89 Toyota pickup, and when I looked up and I kind of sat up a little bit and looked back, I don't know if it was totaled, but I'm guessing it pretty much was.
Now the
whole front driver's side corner was crunched.
Now, did the guy who pulled out in front of you, did he get out of his truck and try to assist you? Did he run down the street to make sure that you were okay?
Yeah, he backed out of the road again, and then he came up, and I was on the phone because I had just had a phone call with my daughter, or a conversation with my daughters, literally that morning, about a time where a few days prior to that, I hit 140 miles an hour on my bike. And, you know, she was like, Dad, don't do that again, ever, promise me. Well, I don't make promises I don't keep. And I'm like, how about I promise I won't tell you about it?
Yeah, all right. Well, you're only going 53 in that instance. What kind of motorcycle did you lose?
It was a 2016 BMW S1000R. It was a beautiful bike.
Did your daughter assume that you were at fault when you called her? Because you just had a conversation about going 140, and now you got to call her and say, hey, I was in an accident.
Actually, she didn't answer, so I had to call her mom and tell her, look, I've just been in a motorcycle accident, a guy hit me, and just tell the kids I'm okay.
Now, did you go? Did that deter you from wanting another bike?
Oh, no. As a matter of fact, the settlement's supposed to be coming soon, and I'll be getting a brand new version of my bike.
What is that? 15, 20 grand?
20. The one I was looking at last week was 21 grand.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Did you reach out to the advocates? That sounds like the perfect opportunity.
You know what's funny is I did reach out, and my attorney is actually through the Law Tigers.
Oh, okay. So the Law Tigers. Right. So Mike just did a fist bump. Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess if you're on a motorcycle, right? That's what they specialize in.
But you had no physical therapy.
America's motorcycle.
You didn't really have to.
I'm currently doing physical therapy because my right shoulder, I have a high grade partial tear in the tendon.
Okay.
And then I just got the results from my MRI on my left knee. I have probable minor ligament tear and tendon issues.
And how long ago was this accident? You said it was last Father's Day. Okay, so about a year ago.
Happy Father's Day.
June 19th. Yeah, it was Father's Day 21. I broke up with my girlfriend. Father's Day 22. I broke up with my bike.
Damn. What do you have planned for this Father's Day? It's right around the corner.
New bike.
You know, my best friend's like, stay home Father's Day.
Yeah,
you're not coming here.
Right.
You're not going anywhere. Just stay home.
That's going to be the day that a meteor crashes like through your roof.
Yeah, I think your friend's right.
Yeah, stay home. Stay home.
But get some burgers or something. Right. Just treat yourself.
Or Uber to a bar and Uber home.
Somehow he'll screw that up.
No, the Uber will get hit.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Are you a father?
I am. I have 6 kids.
Oh, 6? Yeah, what the hell are you doing out of the house anyhow?
Yeah. My God, man.
You shouldn't leave the house.
Well, I'm 51. I was 50 at the time. It was about a month before my 51st birthday. And so, no, I've got a 35-year-old, a 33-year-old, a 32-year-old, a 30-year-old, a 17-year-old, and a 14-year-old.
So you had your first kid when you were, 16?
Yes.
All right. So how much grief did you get as a 16-year-old? I mean, did your family come down on you? Was it that kind of thing? Were they supportive?
They were like, no, that was a dumb move, but let's move on.
Well, I think we all know what you like.
Make sure you take care of the kids.
Yeah,
that's it, right? In the end, just take care of them.
What's funny is when you have 4 kids, people go, "Do you know what causes that?" I'm like, "Yeah, why do you think I have so many?"
Right, exactly.
They never ask anything else again.
How many different mothers?
3.
3. Okay.
And is it 2 each? You try to keep it even, or is it just a mix match?
Actually, it was 1, 3, and 2.
1, 3, and 2. Okay.
So what did you say? You got 4 years away from no more child support?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, don't tell them about that settlement.
You've been paying child support your entire life.
Pretty much.
Yeah, good times.
I have revised what you should do for Father's Day. You should talk to the youngest mother. She can watch it for the weekend. You load up on food. Maybe there's some sports or a movie on. And instead of making a baby, just crank down on yourself and call it a day.
So stay home and masturbate. That is Ted's suggestion.
All right.
You know, that's I love a Father's Day. So what do you want for Father? Can everyone just leave the house? All right? Because I am going to beat this thing like it owes me money. You follow what I'm saying? So if you guys can just leave for a few hours.
I'm going to put porn on the TV.
Damn right. Instead, watch it on my phone. Put it on the big screen. With my feet up on the coffee table.
Get into that tantric.
Pornhub Day. What is the most dangerous thing that you've ever done, whether you meant to or not? 206-803-ROCK.
I'd have hit thumbnails I'd never hit before. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah.
The freakier, the better.
You know what I'm saying?
Happy Father's Day to me.
Yeah.
Hello, Shane. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola.
Hola.
Well, got a story for you guys. Most of my dangerous stuff involves driving, climbing, or jumping off of stuff, but you're getting a climbing story today. We were up outside of Liberty doing some four-wheeling, and we got up to this spot where there's a giant sandstone spire kind of just sticking out of the knuckle of the mountain.
All right.
And me and my buddy Jet just kind of looked at each other, and we're like, I bet you we could climb that thing. And so there's a tree growing right next to it, so we were able to climb the tree halfway, and we jumped from the tree to the sandstone spire and finished climbing all the rest of the way up, which was a little sketchy because, you know, sandstone's not the sturdiest of rocks.
Not low.
So we get up there, and we hadn't bothered to walk around to look at what was on the other side of the spire. So we get to the top, and we look down off of the other edge, and it's a giant scree field that goes down to a cliff that looked like it was probably hundreds of feet tall. And so we were just looking at each other up there, and we were like, oh, crap, man, this was a bad choice. And we managed to get down without any difficulties or anything, but it was like, looking back on it, like, that's probably one of the, like, dumbest, most dangerous things I've ever done.
I'm glad to hear that, because just hearing that sounds like a terrible idea.
Now, did you have to jump back and grab a hold of the tree?
Yeah.
See, that would be the freak out move for me, man. I bear hug them.
Everything about this.
Yeah, that sounds terrifying.
I'd have been your buddy that's still on the ground going, hey, you're doing great.
Mm-hmm. I'll run down and get help because you're not going to make it.
Oh, no, that's like, and you know, I was like 22, 23 when I did this. I was not thinking at all. It was just more of like, I'm a macho, I'm going to show off for the girls. Look at me, how cool I am.
That's the terrifying thing about, if you're a dude in your 20s, especially the young 20s, when you look back, it's like, did I ever make a good decision?
Probably not.
No.
I mean, I honestly cannot think of anything where I consciously made a decision that, looking back, they were all bad ideas. Didn't matter what it was, didn't matter where you were, because you did dumb stuff like that. Hey, let's scale between 2 row houses. It's like 35 feet up. We did it, got to the roof, and then we realized we had to get back down, and that's when things get terrifying.
Yeah, I remember going to visit a friend at college called Mount St. Mary's. And it's like an old school, small college, kind of in the middle of nowhere, Maryland. But they, like the buildings that he was living in are super steep. The roofs are. But same thing, like we were underage. We had been drinking alcohol, right? We're like 18 or 19. And then we opened a window, and I remember we climbed out there and climbed up that roof. But same thing, once we got to like the apex of it, I remember looking at my cousin, I was like, what do we do now? Yeah, because it was so steep. Like I was frightened going down that thing.
Oh, yeah. I remember the adrenaline rush you have. So we did that thing where you wedge your body between the row homes, or maybe 3 feet apart, and just what your
Spider-Man climb.
Kind of Spider-Man climbing. And it was cool. It was me and Leon, right? So we get to the roof. The roofs were flat. Sat up there for a bit. We're like, it was pretty cool. And then we're both like looking down, like, man, we did not think this out.
No.
And we checked to see if they had a fire escape. And the fire escape only took you down one level. So that was basically of no use to us because there was no way to swing from the fire escape back around to get in between row houses again. So we basically, I can't even explain how terrifying it was, but like, as Leon said, he said, man, we got to do it. I mean, we have to do this. Right. You don't have cell phone. You couldn't even call anybody. It's like, we got to do it. And I mean, just going down, I remember I was sort of like, your hands are shaking. I remember my palms were sweating. It was like, please stop sweating. Even though it's brick, you still felt like you're just going to slip off and drop down. But we got to the bottom, just sat there and just choked down cigarettes after that.
Yeah.
Both of our
I would
hands
think the most terrifying part would just be getting back into that position.
It was.
As you're going up.
Going up was easy because, you start on the ground. So the thing was, when we got to the roof, and trust me, Dad, it hit us. You look down, and that's immediately when you say, Jesus Christ, all right, how do we safely, wedge our body back in there, right? And so we had to hang kind of on the edge of the roof and kick your feet off from the one house. And when they hit the house behind it, you hold firm and then take your hand and letting go of the top of the roof to get your hand. Once you started, you could kind of, but just getting your hands off the roof was the most terrifying thing.
We were in me and my buddy Brett were in a cave we've never explored before, and there was a chimney hole, which typically goes down in another corridor. So we wanted to check it out. Brett goes down first. He's got his back against one side of the chimney. He's got his feet against the other side of the wall. But it's caves are still very damp.
Yeah.
So the clay mud that you're kind of doing this on is a little bit more slick. So Brett starts going down, and he goes down about 15 feet. He looks down. He's like, yeah, it's going to keep going, man, but everything's going to be all right. So he's like, so you go, come on down. So I'm right behind him, coming down, and I'll hold him to stop. I'm like, okay, what happened? And he flashed his light. We were wearing headlamps down below his feet. And the ceiling on the room that we were going into was about 25 to 30 feet high.
Oh, man.
And we're at the top of it.
Right.
So we were going to come down, and there was going to be then a 30-foot drop.
Right.
To the bottom of the next room. And it took so long to back crawl upwards against that wet.
It was making me uneasy listening.
It was just like it's so hard because there's a lot of shoulders.
Right.
So you're trying to dig in with your shoulders and kind of and push your way up with your toes and kind of push your back and move it upward. It took a half a frickin' hour. And the whole time you're just sweating and just like, oh, God.
And you can just feel the energy draining from your body.
And he was doing it faster than me, so he was kind of waiting for me most of the time. Like he'd scaled a little bit quicker, and I'm the one who's slowing everything down. And I was so freaked out just trying to get back up that damn thing. And then when you get to the top, there's nothing really to grab onto to pull yourself up. You just got to keep wedging yourself and then flop your back over on the flat area and just kind of like, oh, God.
Yeah, no, thank you.
And then
man.
Brett pushed my feet up.
Get out of the way, man.
That's right. Hurry up, dude. But then when he got up, I was able to pull him out. What's the most dangerous thing that you've ever done, whether you meant to or not? 206-803-ROCK.
Hello, Orion. Welcome to the men's room.
Hey, how's it going?
Hola.
Long time listener, first time caller.
Oh, appreciate
Welcome
it,
to
man.
the show, man.
Yeah, it just takes you talking about almost dying.
Yeah, so I'm an industrial sandblaster painter as a trade. And it's like 10 years ago. I was working with hydro blasting, which works with water.
Right, it's like a water laser,
40K.
right?
Yes, 40,000 pounds of pressure coming out the end of it. And this was when I was like 18. So I always hear the horror stories of things that happened with it. As a kid, I'm just like, nah. So they have a safety equipment on it that it's two triggers, runs off of air. You press one, it allows it to go to the other one to press it to allow it to go. Well, as a kid, that's too much work, so I just bypassed it. And I had a bunch of loops in the line, so I was sitting there spinning it, and it went off, and it went across my rubber boots, and you can see the swirls in it. And I was just sitting there for like 10 or 15 minutes when the lead come up, and he's like, hey, what's going on? It's like I almost cut my toes off.
Did it cut through the boot?
You could see the swirl marks from the 40K in my boot, but it didn't cut through the boot. I got super lucky.
Yeah, it sounds that way.
Did you ever take a shortcut again?
No, I definitely use the safety.
Now, is that used to cut things, or is that used to actually wash something?
It is used to remove the paint and debris from the vessel.
All right.
Okay.
So it's okay. It's really.
Jesus, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a laser beam made out of water.
I mean, I feel really good about a good pressure wash. It's tiring. Your forearms hurt. Your back hurts. Your shoulder hurts.
But it looks so nice.
Oh, man. It's once you get out there and you're in the middle of it, it's like, man, this is fine living.
I need to do some pressure washing.
How many beers
do,
put
man.
down in a pressure wash?
Oh, as many, typically I'll do it in the summer.
As many as you can.
Well, no, I'm thinking, to me, when I used to, mow a lawn when I was, 20, 21. It's a 2-beer job.
Okay, yeah. I mean, we work out in the yard pretty much all summer, and you're just crushing beer the whole time.
But what you don't realize is as soon as you start pressure washing, you're doing everything.
Everything.
You're doing the entire driveway now. You've done your sidewalk. You blasted your fence.
You'll do your neighbor's house.
You watch all the crap come off of something oh, this needs to be done too. Next thing you know, you're...
Dude, I worked at a basketball camp. This was the day camp, but some of the coaches from the overnight, we all stayed at one coach's house in Northern Virginia.
All right.
One guy, Nick, I love him. He was from West Virginia. On the way home, the guy who owned the house said, I need to mow my lawn. And he goes, just stop by and grab a 6-pack of Bud. And we got home, he took off his shirt. He was on that riding lawnmower in no time, drinking a Budweiser. I'm like, that man looks like he loves this.
Okay.
What is the most dangerous thing that you've ever done, whether you meant to or not? 206-803-ROCK.
Whether you're doing a dance to your favorite artist in the office parking lot, or being guided into Warrior One in the break room before your shift. Whether you're running on your Peloton tread at your mom's house while she watches the baby, or counting your breaths on the subway.
Inhaling and long exhale out.
Peloton is for all of us, wherever we are, whenever we need it. Download the free Peloton app today. Peloton app available through free tier or paid subscription starting at $12.99 per month.
Providence Swedish is hiring RNs and CNAs in Centralia, Edmonds, Everett, Issaquah, Mill Creek, Olympia, Redmond, and Seattle. Work in a smaller city or dynamic downtown, next door to water or mountains or both. No matter which Providence Swedish location you choose, you'll get support as you learn and grow in your career and be valued for your unique contributions as we deliver exceptional patient care together. See open roles at providenceswedish.jobs.
99.9 KISW. The men's room returns with Miles and Thrill.
Sort of Who Sucks Less coming up right after emails on our question. What is the most dangerous thing that you've ever done? Whether you meant to or not, 206-803-ROCK.
Hello, Dan. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola, mi amigo.
Hola.
Oh, you guys are muy excelente.
Oh, appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Gracias.
Yeah. So I should have drowned with my father when I was about 13, and I've electrocuted myself many times, but I am the shredder dude that you referred to previously in that text.
Oh, from the text lines. All right. Okay. So what's the story with this?
Yeah, I don't know if you could see the picture and the little video I sent with the text.
No, we can't get that on our text line.
Oh, that's all good. So yeah, I've been operating a big mobile shredding truck for many years, and so at the end of the day, I'd come back to the plant and shred at night, and so I was all alone, and I had done this hundreds of times, going up into the hopper to clear jams, and it was the end of a long day, and I was picking the paper trying to clear it. And, there's a conveyor belt that runs on the floor, and then there's a big steel nubbed roller above it that feeds the paper into the shredder. And my boot got caught in there.
Oh, God.
And, oh, yeah.
Hell, I worry about shoestrings on an escalator. That's a different level
Yes,
stuff.
sir. Yes, sir. I was pulling on that. It's one of those deals where it seemed like it was, minutes and minutes. I don't know how long I was pulling on it for, because if you stop pulling, you just get, fed in. And, it got to the point when it was very painful on top of it. And it got to the point where it was like, okay, dude, just, give it up. And just let, whatever's going to happen, which would be,
you get shredded.
And mixed in with the paper. So, the people the next morning would say, gee, why is the shredder truck still running? And where's Dan?
Why is there so much blood?
Yeah, well, they would have found that when they unloaded the truck, yeah.
So basically, it's just like a huge wood chipper. And you read those stories, too, about people who get sucked into that, and that is
it's
not good.
Basically, it's the same kind of shredder they use to shred tires and stuff like that. So, I had steel-toe boots on, but that wouldn't have made a difference.
Well, let me ask you this. When you're just doing your day-to-day job, and you've got a truck pulled up outside of a bank, and you're taking all the documents into a shredding truck, do people ever say anything to you, or do you ever get any weird looks like, yeah, cover up the evidence? Anything like that?
No, but I have seen some fairly interesting things that ended up being shredded. It's kind of one of those things where you're taking care of sensitive documents, et cetera, and people kind of have a built-in respect for that because of all the identity theft and things of that nature.
Sure.
But so, I was pretty much at the end of my rope, and I kind of gave it one final tug, and, I was thinking, well, maybe I can unlace my boot, but I tried, and when I leaned over, it was like, okay, I can't maintain enough pressure to keep from getting pulled in, and I just one final yank, and my foot slipped out, and my boot got shredded, and holy smokes, I felt a little nervous after that.
Well, sure, man. How quickly does it suck your boot into the shredder once your foot's out?
In about the space of a second.
So it's just thump, and it's gone.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Like I said, I sent you guys a little video if you can look at it later if you want, but it shows kind of how that works. And, the only person I told was my sister. And, I said to her, if I ever die, on the job, make sure you hire a good lawyer because there's probably some safety precautions that were overlooked and you could probably sue for a lot of money.
How about don't put your foot in the shredder?
I
mean,
yeah, that's not that. It would have been that way, but the alternative was so tedious that I would have had to go and unload the shredder, but there's nowhere to unload it, and it's kind of untenable. But I did keep the remaining boot tied up next to me to remind me to be more careful from then on.
Yeah,
so.
all right. Probably a good thing.
Damn.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's safety precautions, but, one, don't stick your foot into the shredder. Like, if I buy a cheese grater, it's a cheese grater. But if I decide I want to headbutt it, don't sue the company.
Yeah.
I mean,
you're getting down to the Rhine, man. There's a chance you're going to might lose a knuckle. What is the most dangerous thing you've ever done, whether you meant to or not? 206-803-ROCK.
Hello, Karen. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola.
Hola.
So the stupidest thing I've ever done was break up between two men on one of the tourist tours in downtown Seattle.
What kind of tour was it? A tourist tour?
It was it was an underground tour.
Oh, underground
in downtown Seattle. So I had some family in town, and we were on the tour, and our guide was taking us across the street to go to another site, and a car came a little bit too close to the tour group, and the tour guide was like, dude, what's up? Like, chill out. Put his hand up. Well, apparently the driver didn't like that, put his car in park, got out of the car, and came up to the tour guide and pushed him and was like, expletive, whatever. And then the tour guide pushed him back, and they were kind of, going at it, and they're about to, really, throw down. And so I jumped in the middle of them, and I faced the driver, and I'm weigh all of about $125. And I was like, get the bleep off, move back. And I looked him straight in the eye, and he probably was a little bit surprised because he kept backing up. Well, of course, my family was in town, so one of my family members, immediately jumped in and, bear hugged me and grabbed me, and he was like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I have no idea.
Well, it's always
another test of question. I'm not so sure.
Right. Well, you're probably pretty scrappy. It's always a Chihuahua that wants to fight the big dog.
Right. Now, let me ask you this. Honest to God, didn't that make the tour a little more exciting?
Yeah, I'm sure it did. It did.
All right.
Well, we finished the tour, and then at the end of the tour, guess who's waiting? The cops.
Oh, I thought you said the driver. Who called the cops? Who called the cops?
The cops. Well, apparently one of the the tourists didn't like it and, wanted to make a statement and, what have you. So
did they end up?
The tour guide did nothing wrong.
Did they end up fighting after your family member pulled you out, or did they stop?
No, the guy the driver was like, what is happening? And he got back in his car. He parked his car in the middle of the street.
Yeah. Well, okay, on a different note.
I will say, I never understand sometimes in the middle of cities. People are,
driving like idiots or illegally parked. And you say something to them, then they get
And they're mad
so
at you.
aggressive.
Yeah.
Was that is that tour worth taking if you have family in town?
I've been on it every single time a family member comes into town, so that about 15 times.
Okay. So is there a lot of
yes.
is there a lot of cool stuff underneath the city?
Yeah, it is really cool. It smells, a little bit dank and, musty, but it's really cool.
All right. Okay. I've never done that.
I haven't done it
Almost
either. And
20
I
years.
see the people on the tour, and it's never something I've wanted to do. I'm just not like a big tour kind of guy.
Right.
You know what I mean? But
if you got to do touristy things, and you got to take people to see.
How many times have you been to the space
I don't want to do this, I want to do that. But that's never one that I've. I never thought about that one. I've taken them to the Ferris wheel and the space
done the wheel.
Needle
The space needle.
Ferry ride's always a big one.
I haven't done the wheel.
You haven't done the wheel?
Oh, you'd like the wheel?
I haven't.
I mean,
It's actually
fine.
it's pretty quick.
Look, nothing against the wheel. It's a Ferris wheel, man. So
you get a nice
spin in a circle.
You get a good view of the city.
Yeah. You get a good view from the Space Needle. I mean, look,
right.
You're not bagging on any of it, but like anything, if you live in the town, it's not the thing you're trying to do. Like, what do you guys do for fun? I'm like, I go to the bar, but that's not where you want to go. You want to go to the Space Needle.
Yeah, like when I have people in town, don't get me wrong, I've been to the Needle within like the last 5 years. But generally, I'll be like, let's go to Discovery Park.
Sure, something like that, right?
Yeah.
Especially if you have family from the East Coast. A place like Discovery Park blows their mind open.
Just do the loop. What is the most dangerous thing that you've ever done, whether you meant to or not? 206-803-ROCK.
Hello, Tim. Welcome to the men's room.
How you doing today? Liquor and whores.
Liquor and whores.
So, first-time caller, long-time listener.
Well, thank you, man. We appreciate that.
So, I was taking a trip with my mom when I was about 10 years old down the Oregon coast. And we decided to stop at this old zoo. So when we got done with the zoo, this guy was walking around this about 3-year-old Bengal tiger on a leash, like a little dog. He had no claws on it. So I proceeded to wrestle with this thing for like a half an hour. My mom let me. Everybody was standing there watching. I mean, wrestled with it. I was muddy when I was done.
Now, it didn't have claws, but did it still have teeth?
Yeah, it had teeth, it had back claws too, but the guy had it on a leash, so he kept an eye on it. But
look, man,
I shouldn't have done that. But
having a tiger on a leash does not lend me any comfort at all.
I know.
It'd be like being handcuffed to a chimpanzee. Like, what are you going to do if this thing decides? So at 3 years old, how big is this thing? Is that basically full grown?
I'd say probably 150 pounds, 200 pounds, somewhere. I was about to say it's a little bit bigger than me. I know that.
All right, let me ask you this, since I've never been up close and personal with a tiger, and I prefer to keep it that way. Does it smell weird?
No, I think they kept bathing it.
Not only that, but cats clean themselves.
I know cats clean themselves. I know. I was just wondering, it seems like, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know, man. Wrestling with a tiger.
Nope.
No chance. God, did you see? I can't remember.
That's a cool story, though.
Yeah.
I mean, look, that's a great story. No doubt about it, but I like that he's reflecting back like, maybe I should not have done that. But you did.
Would you rather wrestle a tiger or would you rather wrestle Tiger?
Tiger. It was a circus. I can't remember if it was like in China maybe, but just saw this week. So there's a guy with 3 lions in the cage doing his thing. He's got the chair, he's got the whip, blah, blah, blah. They don't realize that like the back gate to the cage they're in had popped open. So one of the lions walks directly out of the cage, and you just see everyone in this place get up and get the hell out of there.
Yeah.
And then when the other lions realize that the one lion's gotten out, all 3 of them decide, you know what, we're going to go out there. So circus guy, he's trying to corral them, but at that point, they're not interested. Now that they know they have a way to get out, they're getting out. So they basically just knock his ass out of the way, and they didn't chase after anyone, but you can see that they're getting that weird cat stalking thing.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, yeah, I was just like, I'm watching this video, and I'm uncomfortable.
Think about all the people that went and saw Siegfried and Roy at the Mirage in Vegas.
But only one of them saw the best show.
You can get, the most the most expensive.
Say what you want, but it's like, look, man, it's like watching NASCAR. You hope everyone's safe, but you still want to see a crash.
Right.
Well, if you go to the thing my parents go to is where they do all the Circus du Soleil. They've been to 3 of them where something went wrong. But in the end, my mom's like, you don't want anyone to get hurt, but you really remember the performance. So if I had to see Siegfried and Roy, because I'd never had an interest in doing that, but if I went to the one where Roy, the the tiger decided, I'm done with you, like, that's the one.
And he still doesn't blame the lion.
Look.
Or the tiger.
He doesn't.
The expensive seats are up front. There's no barrier.
Right.
There's no barrier. They're never, I mean.
Right, they weren't in a cage. They're just on a stage.
Yeah, when you go and you could check them out in their enclosures when they weren't performing.
Correct.
So you could see like the snow leopard, lion, whatever, the tiger, whatever the hell.
White tigers.
Yeah, white tiger, the one that's white and black striped and just all kinds of weird crap. But those are the ones that they just walk out there, they sit down. You are literally 15 feet away
from a tiger.
From those animals. And there's 4 or 5 of them. And just sitting there when they bring out one at a time to do the thing, and they do it right in front of you.
Yeah, I'd go for the cheap seats, man. I'm sorry.
I would have a very hard time feeling comfortable in that situation.
Now, do they still do shows like that? I know Siegfried and Roy don't, not them, but other animal people, do they still do shows where there's no barrier, like you said, between the audience and these tigers up on
And I'm sure
stage?
if you go to one of those roadside zoos, they do.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm right there with you. Like, man, I'm going to get the cheap seats.
Kind of wild, too. They had a lot of those tigers, and there's only like 200 of them in the wild.
And they had, what, like 5?
White
Something
tigers,
like that?
yeah.
What is the most dangerous thing that you've ever done, whether you meant to or not? 206-803-ROCK.
Hello, Chase. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola, bicholas.
Hola.
So, years ago, I went to smoke a bowl in the trees up at Christian Mountain and finish up. And then as I'm getting out of there, it's real dense, steep area called Niagara's, and I just fall on my side, and then I'm sliding slowly, and it just seemed like slow motion, but I went head first right for this tree. I'm looking at it, and head first go right down the tree well, and my skis are still on, so it hangs me upside down in the tree well, and then starts to fill in with snow, and it took me about like 3 hours to get out of there.
There was no one else on the slope?
No, it was sort of in the middle of nowhere, and it was a little hectic.
How terrifying is that to be hanging upside down, especially when it starts filling with snow?
I thought I was done for sure. Like it took me, I don't know, it seemed like 20 minutes to like chill myself out and realize I got all the blood in my head and go through all that stuff mentally, and then it's the figure out how to physically get your skis off so you can fall down to the bottom of the tree well and then climb back up through the tree and through the snow. And
have you seen the video though? It's been going around last few weeks about the guy who did that freak you out to watch that?
What's the video
from Mount Baker? Yeah. I mean, the dude was blue in the face. That was the same thing with me. I got out of there, and first thing somebody comes up and it's like, "Oh, what have you been doing here? You're blue. You're purple."
Yeah, it's crazy.
So what happened in this video?
Well, the guy's in a tree well, and somebody skis by and happens to see a little bit of color, jacket, something.
All right.
So he stops, and it's backcountry stuff. So if he hadn't taken that route, he wouldn't have seen this guy. And I don't know how long that guy had been in there, but he basically stopped, went back, and dug his ass out.
Had his little shovel with him that he put together and dug the guy out, saved his life.
Gee, and what were you saying? The people that disappeared in the avalanche.
Well, that was up in Alaska. There was a guy from Seattle and another guy, and they went. They were going across probably, I'm guessing, some type of glacier because it was pretty massive crevasses. And they had taken their skis so they could ski down, and they got to a point where they had to put crampons on to get across a field or whatever. So basically, they said that they could see where the avalanche came down. They knew where their tents were. They found their helmet and their axes. But they believe what happened was it wasn't that big of an avalanche, and they don't believe that they triggered it because it came from above. But what it did was it basically, the entire avalanche deposited in a huge crevasse, one or two of them.
So it just pushed these guys.
It just went over and down, 200 feet into basically a huge blue hole. So all that snow, they just kind of assume, and I know they repelled people down in there to see if they could find them. They screamed, they did all that stuff, but they're pretty sure that everything that was involved in that hillside just fell into that giant hole.
Jesus, man.
Yeah. What is the most dangerous thing that you've ever done, whether you meant to or not? We've got your emails coming up next from the men's room at KISW.com.
Start summer with a $500 Visa gift card. NC Machinery is offering big rewards on small excavators. Grab a Cat Mini excavator and demolish jobs. Dig deep or move material with the smallest line of Cat products. Do more with less. That's right, small is big right now. Big rewards and big savings for your pocket. For a limited time, NC Machinery is offering a $500 Visa gift card, as well as financing of 0% for 36 months for qualified buyers. Now is the time to reward yourself. Terms and conditions apply while supplies last.
Hey there, it's your friend Stormy Warren here, and I want to invite you to my new home, the Big 615, exclusively on TuneIn. It's the official home of country music broadcasting live from Nashville to the world. Get the latest on country music, from your favorite artists to the hottest songs climbing up the charts. Oh, and it's commercial free. Hear it all on the Stormy Warren Show, weekdays from 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. Central. Download the free TuneIn app from the App Store. That's TuneIn. Or ask your device to play the Big 615 on TuneIn.
Have you or a loved one been injured in an accident? Are you struggling to recover fair compensation? Look no further. At Phillips Law Firm, the experienced personal injury attorneys will fight for your rights and get you the justice and compensation you deserve. They handle a wide range of cases, including car accidents, slip and falls, medical malpractice, and workplace injuries. Justice is a phone call away, so don't wait. Call today for a free case review. Call 1-800-JUSTICE or visit justiceforyou.com.
What's up? It's your boy, the Ted Smith. Thanks for listening to the Men's Room Daily Podcast. Want more? Check out the greatest podcast in all the land, The Podcast. Be sure to subscribe and listen to a brand new episode every Tuesday night.
The debauchery rolls on. You're listening to the Men's Room with Miles and Thrill. 99.9 KISW.
Return of Who Sucks Less coming up the first time for a few emails from the Men's Room at KISW.com.
You've got
And a few from our question, what is the most dangerous thing that you've ever done, whether you meant to or not? In the first house I owned, guys, the previous owner built a dark room in half of the two-car garage. So I demolished everything. Last step I did after taking out the drywall and framing was to take out the wiring. Now, this house was not wired correctly. I turned off the breakers. Thought there were, cut the right ones to the outlets and switches. Well, I snipped the wire. A huge spark showered down, and all the lights went out in the garage. Minor shock, and I shuffled over in the dark to the breaker to turn it back on. The wire cutters I were using were spot welded closed.
Oh, my God.
When I looked back to where I clipped the wire, I noticed that there were 2 full 5-gallon cans of gas directly below where the sparks fell. Thank God I did not explode that day. Keep on rocking that from B-Dub. Pacholos, I was in Iraq. During a firefight, I caught a round in my Kevlar helmet. It was a tracer round and burned a hole in my cover. Talk about making your bell ring.
Jeez, man.
Rock on, bitches. That from the Batman.
Good thing he was wearing that helmet.
Yeah, no kidding.
Guys, it is my son Ian's 14th birthday. Could you guys give him a your penis is too small? And how about Coach Ted's advice on securing his spot on soccer tryouts for attacking center midfielder position tonight? Thanks, guys. Lots of love. That from Mom and Dad.
Man, it's a big night. Soccer tryouts. Good news, weather's good, sun's out.
Yes.
Now listen, you're going to be this tacking midfielder, center midfielder. You got to look for that overlapping run, all right? The other midfielder, he'll control it. You're making a run. Look for that winger on the right side. You put that pass into him. Boom, goal. Now that you've got an assist under your belt, let's impress Coach and go score a goal of our own, all right?
All the gentlemen. Today is my amazing husband Matthew's birthday. Could he get a happy Chinooka and a motivational speech from Coach Ted to inspire him while he fixes the garage door? That from his loving wife, Lauren.
Happy Chinooka.
I'll tell you what, Coach isn't going to give you a speech. You don't need motivation to fix that door. What you need is for your wife to stop breaking it. We all know Laura did it. Mike, I'm not going to call her a bitch.
Hey!
Hey!
Good. Damn, Mike.
Yeah, Mike, what'd you get so mean?
Pacholos, I'm trying to send a birthday shout out to my brother Sam B. So how about the Dirty Germans talking about how he got one hole-in-one at Snohomish and never shuts up about it. Also, can we get Coach Ted preparing him for life at 40 and not to be bad that his little brother is his boss at work? Thanks, gentlemen. That from Barack B.
All right, life at 40. You're going to have to stretch more and keep more fluids down. Water. But things will be sore. You can still play the sport you like and everything. You will be sore. Want to get that out there. Maybe buy some Advils. And also, hey, your little brother's your boss, but sometimes little bosses is the boss, so deal with it.
Yeah, for your birthday, don't brag about this hole-in-one, because tonight I plan on finding just one hole. Your choice.
Yeah, so I'm going to explore also holes. Can you get a 3-in-1?
Yeah.
So I got to know. Here's a new golf game. Why don't we all wait to take our little golf balls out of the hole at the same time?
Yeah, playing 3-hole tonight.
Believe it or not, Ted, it's etiquette or a good superstition. So if someone makes a really good shot or a very long putt and the ball goes in the hole, you say, leave that ball in the hole so my ball can plop on top of it.
Oh, it's a little golf ball bounce.
Yeah, two balls in one hole.
We'll be plopping tonight.
All right, guys, here you go.
Happy, happy, happy birthday. Happy, happy, happy birthday. Happy, happy, happy birthday to you, to you, to you.
Ya's a Dirty German is brought to you by Men's Room Original Sausage. Available through Uli's World Famous Sausage, mensroomlive.com, and other fine retailers. Schweinefleisch.
Thank you, Bob. A couple extra emails here. What I can laugh about now. Gentlemen, I used to go to Wazoo. I had a really late night drive from Seattle area to my dorm at school. When I was stuck on the Palouse roads with nothing anywhere in sight, I got stuck behind a slow-moving Cadillac, weaving back and forth in a drunken stagger. Every time I tried to pass him, he got in my way and slowed down. I kept honking, and he kept blocking me until I could finally get past him. Obviously, he got my one-finger salute as I sped off, but then he started chasing me. It was like something out of an action movie, running up on my bumper, pulling alongside and weaving toward me, getting in front of me, hitting the brakes. I wasn't sure what to do, so after like 30 minutes or so of this, I pull over on the shoulder and just wait for what was going to come, prepping for a fist fight. He stopped on the road about 50 feet in front of me, rolled down his driver's side window so he could brandish his revolver in the air, sat for a couple of minutes, then drove off. I had to wash out my shorts when I got to school. That from Terry.
Jesus.
On the subject of who did you meet? Oliver Cholas, close personal friend of mine, flew first class from Atlanta to Vegas while sitting next to Redman. He likes all kinds of music, but he had no clue. So he's on this flight, having drinks with this guy, who introduces himself to my buddy as Reggie, and they do nothing but talk about fatherhood and their kids. Still, no idea who this guy is. So when they land, he gets invited as a guest to see a show at the House of Blues, and they exchange phone numbers. So he finishes up his planned evening a little early, figures, hey, I got enough time to get down to the show. When he arrived, he was shocked to see Reggie Redman, Redman on the mic, who sends out a shout-out to his boy D from Atlanta. About 2 hours later that same evening, he shoots me a text with a pic of him, Redman, Method Man, and Ghostface Killah. Killa. Sorry. Killah. I'm reading it phonetically.
You wearing khakis today?
Who's the white man in there? Give it up for the white people.
Killah.
Ghostface Killah. Yeah, you're a Wu-Tang fan.
Raccoon. And to this day, they still talk and hang out, believe it or not.
Redman has the best episode of Cribs that I've ever seen.
How so?
Because he's like from, obviously he's probably from, or whatever. He's from somewhere in the New York area.
Yeah.
I don't know if he has multiple houses, but at the time, it was just like a row house.
Really?
Yeah. And he had like his buddy sleeping on the floor, and he's like, you always got to have a friend sleeping on the floor. And it wasn't like bad. It just was like kind of a normal town.
A normal dude, yeah.
He also had the dollar box where he had a box full of dollars that he keeps on his top of his refrigerator. Sometimes you just need $1. I mean, it's a classic episode.
Sometimes you just need $1.
And another one on the topic of who did you meet? Old Men's Room, catching up on the Odyssey app. Long-time listener, first-time emailer coming to you from Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Tulsa?
Wow. Guys, I heard you guys on the Odyssey app, and you mentioned Ron Perlman and seeing him at an airport. Mike, that was you, right? Well, thank God you didn't meet him, because he's a giant D-bag.
Oh.
They were filming a movie here in Tulsa a few years ago, and he was staying at the nicest hotel in town. Well, we found out he was staying there, and it just so happened it was my brother and his husband's wedding there that weekend. Well, my brother-in-law's brother went to ask for an autograph, got told to F off, and then I remembered that I read that he was kind of a D. So good and toasted as I was, Ron walks by and loudly say, oh yeah, I heard that Ron Perlman was a huge D-bag as he was looking at our group walking onto the rooftop bar. The look of anger was priceless, and everyone laughed. Thanks, guys. That from Phil, president of the Tulsa chapter of the Men's Room.
Now, the Men's Room wants to know, who sucks less?
Yay, time for Who Sucks Less. Steve at Throwhill, you bring us 3 stories from the news each and every week. All of them suck. It's up to us to determine out of the 3 which one sucks the least. Now, if you happen to follow KISW on Twitter, the debate is already underway on Who Sucks Less.
Yes, indeed. And we will be in Atlanta, Georgia. Then we head north to Pennsylvania. And then we take the long flight to China. But let's go to Atlanta, Georgia. Now, let's face it, a lot of people, they feel like they're being robbed by the company they hired to help them move. But this guy, well, he quite literally was. So a man in Atlanta, he was being evicted a couple of weeks ago, and a moving company showed up with some cops. Now, it doesn't sound like he hired the company. They were just part of the eviction services team. Well, when the cops left, that's when things got dark. 3 of the movers approached the guy, pulled a handgun, and said, quote, a white man said they could take whatever they wanted. The men loaded 3 of the victims' TVs into the vehicles and then sped off. Now, the police are still looking for the men. They have photos of 2 of the guys who are identified as Kills and Vaughn by the eviction services company. All 3 men are facing charges of robbery with a weapon. That's what's mind-blowing to me, is that they showed up with cops with the intent of robbing this guy, and as soon as the cops rolled out, that's when they robbed him. Because they're part of the eviction services crew. Now,
that is wild.
I mean, think about that.
Where was that?
That was in Atlanta.
That was Atlanta.
Atlanta, yeah. Now let's go to Pennsylvania, where state police, they're warning shoppers after they say an employee at a grocery store put sewing needles in the food. Troopers are contacted about possible food tampering at a Giant grocery store. That's actually the name of it, Giant. At a Giant grocery store, their investigation found that an employee put needles in bagged vegetables and individual tasty cake packages. Now, an investigation did uncover that the tampering occurred after 5 p.m. on a Thursday, and due to surveillance video that showed the now former employee appeared to be inserting needles into other food items. Company said any customers who bought these items from the location, well, if they suspect it's been tampered with, notify the police, return the items to the store. A teen, who Giant referred to as a now former employee, has been identified and will face charges. So he's putting needles into bagged vegetables and tasty cakes, which is not good at all, but you do what you can to protect kids, and I feel like 95% of the people that eat tasty cakes are probably children. And now, let's go to China, where a guy did a very good thing. A security guard there, he suffered multiple injuries while trying to catch a girl who jumped from a building, but he ended up losing his job and getting criticized by the woman's family. So the 28-year-old security guard, he was working at a hospital. That's when his life took a turn. He was on duty when he received reports that a young girl had climbed onto the 4th floor balcony and was threatening to jump to her death. He quickly ran outside, saw the young woman preparing to take her own life. Firefighters had not arrived yet, and a number of hospital employees that were trying to improvise a net to catch her, but then she jumped. So they never had the chance to do it. She leapt from the balcony before they were ready. So what did he do? He instinctively rushed forward, tried to catch the woman in his arms. Well, the impact was powerful enough that he suffered multiple fractures all over his body, including his arms and spine, but he did manage to save the girl's life. She needed hospitalization as well, but her injuries were much less severe than his, so she was discharged in a matter of days. Meanwhile, the security guard, not so lucky. Almost a year after the incident that left him confined to a hospital bed, his situation is not much improved. The doctors still can't rule out paralysis due to the damage to his spine, and to make matters worse, his family, they can no longer afford to pay for his medication. They wouldn't have it if he had insurance, but he lost his job after rescuing the girl because, as they say, he couldn't show up for work. It gets worse. So then the family tried contacting the security guard company that he used to work for to ask them, hey, can you cover part of the medical bills because he'd been injured on the job? But they refused, and the family didn't have enough money to hire a lawyer for a legal battle. But they got the most shocking response when they tried contacting the family of the girl that he saved. And they had it on video. One of the security guard's relatives could be seen calling the girl's family only to be berated and threatened by them. They said, quote, what have you done? Our child is like this now. My child is disabled. If something happens to her, you're also responsible, and you have to bear the responsibility for the rest of your life. Dude saved her life. And the family's like, yeah, but now she's in bad shape, because he ruined it for her. So again, these are the stories. Like I said, today's
So who are we saying is the bad person in the last story?
Pick them. It could be the security guard company. It could be the family of the girl who we saved, right? I mean, there's any number on there. So again, we have the police. We have the guy in Atlanta where the movers robbed him of his 3 TVs. We have some jackass in Pennsylvania who's putting sewing needles into the grocery store products. And finally, the security guard saved the girl's life. And now the security guard company has fired him, and the family of the victim is even giving him trash.
Well, on Twitter, Ethan and Nate, they go with the TV robbers.
The TV robbers, sucking the life.
I mean, the TV robbers, I can let. So they're on the eviction team. They show up with the cops.
Correct.
The cops leave.
Yes.
And before they evict this dude, they steal his TVs.
Yeah, they pull out a gun and say, hey, we're taking your stuff.
If you're getting evicted, well, I shouldn't say that. You can get evicted for a lot of stuff. It's not necessarily money.
Right. Who knows? Who knows why? Yeah, I don't know what his situation was to let him be evicted, but goddamn, man, you wouldn't think you can be robbed by the moving company.
I mean, put the sewing needles into the tasty cakes. I want to say that's the worst.
I think physically it is the worst. You know what I mean? Like, from a certain standpoint, I think the worst might be either the family of the girl that jumped or the security company that hired this guy and then fired him, etc. It's hard. But, and he did get hurt. He got hurt doing his job. So to me, yeah, I gotta say the movers suck the least.
I'm right there with him.
It's a little bit easier at the end of the day because the guy got robbed of TVs.
Correct. And they did not hurt him, but they did steal his crap.
It also, man, that just sounds so hood.
It's Atlanta.
Right, like they showed up with the eviction team and the cops, and then when the cops left, were like, hey, we'll take those nice TVs.
Keep in mind that when the police contacted the eviction services company, they're like, well, we know who two of the three guys are that we sent out from our company. One is Kills, K-I-L-Z. The other's Vaughn. They don't even have last names.
Well, also,
you know what I mean? Like, I hired Boopy and Country. That's as much as I could tell you about the people I hired.
Also, a needle, like a regular needle, more than likely, it does have a chance of snapping and breaking based on the length of it.
But he put it in a tasty cake.
Well, a sewing needle is a lot stronger.
Right.
And it's a lot more dense, but it's sharper to a certain degree. So if you were to happen to swallow one of those things, it is absolutely going to destroy you.
But the only thing I could say in his defense, and I'm not defending it, is that he is a teen, almost a child as well. So maybe he's just going through some stuff, and I'm just trying to figure out a reason to do this insanity. You're right though. Like that poor guy that stops the woman that saves her life.
He responded instantly. Because he was inside. He gets the call that this is what's going on, runs outside, sees her, she jumps, and he does what he can to prevent her from crashing into the ground. And then he gets fired because they're like, well, you can't show up for work. It's like, right.
Like he can't walk.
Yeah, because my spine got snapped when I caught this chick that was jumping off of the building.
And then for her family to be like, the bills are on you and this and that. It's like, dude, your daughter would be dead if it wasn't for that guy.
That is correct.
How about a little damn respect?
No, they're not going to do that.
All right, so I'll say moving crew. I guess we're all agreeing the moving robbers suck the least, which is terrible.
It is terrible.
What a bad day. You get evicted and you get robbed.
Of the crap that people are taking out of your house.
Debate continues on Who Sucks Less if you follow KISW on Twitter. You are listening to The Men's Room.
Whether you're doing a dance to your favorite artist in the office parking lot or being guided into Warrior One in the break room before your shift, whether you're running on your Peloton tread at your mom's house while she watches the baby, or counting your breaths on the subway.
Inhaling and long exhale out.
Peloton is for all of us, wherever we are, whenever we need it. Download the free Peloton app today. Peloton app available through free tier or paid subscription starting at $12.99 per month.
Everyone needs a checking account. Wouldn't it be great if it made you some extra money every month? When you set up a gold checking account with KISW Credit Union, you can earn up to $495 per year in dividend earnings when you maintain a $15,000 balance. It's a checking account that's better than free, with a high rate, no monthly service fees or minimum balance requirements, and a best-in-class mobile banking app. Open your gold checking online today at kitsapcu.org. KISW Credit Union, powering life's opportunities.
99.9 KISW. The shenanigans continue. This is the Men's Room with Miles and Thrill.
All right, coming up next, we'll drink a toast for the shot of the day. And we do have your headlines on the way at 5:50. But first, quick check out with Mike Hawk and some of the stories and headlines he is not working on.
All right, good news, boys. Old Bay goldfish are back.
Yeah. That is good news.
I was pretty stoked about that myself.
Great.
I'm not quite as nuts about Old Bay as you guys are, but those Old Bay goldfish were doggone good.
You like that Old Bay hot sauce?
I did like that Old Bay hot sauce.
Old Bay is just good, man.
That's what I'm saying. And not me. But some people didn't realize that was a limited thing, and they've been disappointed every time they go to the grocery store.
I keep looking at them at Bartell. I also look for the Old Bay crab balls, which I know, or cheese balls, which I know I'm not going to find.
There's Old Bay cheese balls?
They are amazing.
That sounds fantastic. Like an Old Bay, like a Cheeto Puff?
Yep. Yeah, except for it's the ball.
Nice.
Covered in Old Bay.
Hers makes like literally a cheese puff with Old Bay on it. But you can only get you can't find hers out here.
Sure. I don't even know who her is.
It's a chip brand. I got them. I think I brought them in once.
I think you did.
Because I ordered them off Amazon.
Right.
You can find hers at Petoskey's in Fremont.
Okay.
Go in there and get a hoagie, and they got hers chips.
Very good. What was the other one? Utz.
Utz isn't. They sometimes carry those.
Right. Which just, you guys got absolutely nuts about it when the gal downstairs finally got it.
Yeah. Because I hadn't seen Utz chips out here anywhere. Now they show up more places. Like I'll see some of the Utz like party pack or mix at like a grocery store or like a liquor store.
Nice.
But yeah, it's hard to find just, Utz chips.
So that corner store moved to the next building, right?
Yeah.
So I asked the woman, I said, how come you don't carry those crab Utz chips anymore? Because she loves them. And she's like, a guy came in and bought the entire box.
Whoa.
Yeah. And I was like, was it one of us?
Was it which one of these jackasses?
No.
Damn. Starbucks' summer lineup is about to roll out and includes 2 new drinks, a coffee blend, and a cake pop.
A new cake pop?
Yeah. I don't know how much more mixed up they can get, Ted.
I don't know what's a summertime flavor for a cake pop.
Cake pop.
It's a good call.
Right, I mean, that's what I'm saying. To me,
man,
there's a chocolate one, there's a vanilla one, there's a birthday cake. They already seem pretty, any time of year.
It's going to be some lemon bar one, I guarantee it.
All right, you know what? Now I'm in. Mm-hmm. I love a lemon bar.
Nah.
Right there with you. Really? You don't like lemon bars?
No.
Me neither.
Artificial lemon, I am very picky with artificial.
I think it's real lemon, though.
I always thought you were stupid. Now I know you are.
Yep.
You eat poppy seed muffins, but you hate on the lemon bar?
Settle down on the pot.
Do you know there's more lemon in Pine Sol than there is in Minute Maid lemonade?
Yeah. Are you kidding me?
No, that's true.
There's more natural lemon in Pine Sol than there is in lemonade that you buy.
Ted makes that erroneous comment about the poppy seed muffins because I went to
Ice Cream Social.
Thank you, Ice Cream Social. They have an almond poppy seed flavor ice cream, and it tastes just like the doggone Costco muffin. I'm hooked.
All right.
I'm on it, man. I'm going to go get some tonight. I don't even care.
Muffins or Ice Cream Social?
Maybe both, Smith. Jesus. All right.
Don't be mad at me. You should call people busy.
Damn it. An expert says AI could replace 80% of jobs in the coming years, but ensures that it's a good thing.
A good thing.
Okay.
Basically saying that we won't, waste so much time of our life working.
Well,
but you need money.
Right. People aren't working because they need something to do. It's that everything you do requires you to have a bit of cash.
We're going to start great. Everything's more efficient and stuff. Cool. All right. So who are you selling the product to? Because nobody has money.
Exactly. We're going to start the cycle all over again because people are going to lose their jobs. They're going to have to, be able to farm and cultivate for themselves. And then all of a sudden, we're going to get right back to the agricultural revolution.
But I mean, look, machines have already done a ton of that.
Right. Yes.
Right? And then the hard farming jobs, frankly, a lot of people don't want to do them.
Right.
At all.
Because they're difficult and they don't pay that much.
Ding.
Shoot, man. There's a muscular pigeon that's going viral.
Yeah. I saw a picture of that thing.
I've not seen him. Is he just a huge?
He's jacked, dude. Yeah.
And he stands up real tall and he's got hair all the way down his little legs.
It's a weird looking pigeon, but he is certainly buff.
Somebody described it whether it looks like a live action Pokemon.
It kind of does.
Damn.
Yeah. You know what's inside the eggs of that pigeon? Yolk.
Wow, that's all right, because pigeons aren't even real, dude.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot.
You ever seen a baby pigeon? Think about it, man. We also do stuff on birds over at Ham.
Over at Ham? For real?
For real.
The channel.
I also like all these cartoons of yoked up pigeons now. All right, Miles, look at this guy.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to fight him.
No.
You guys ever noticed that it's hard to find a pigeon that has all of its toes?
I have never noticed this.
Man,
Mike.
next time you guys are walking up and down the streets, you see a doggone pigeon sitting there, I will guarantee you there's a 30% chance it doesn't have all of its toes.
You tell me this is kind of the norm.
Yes. They walk around with little nub feet all the time, dude. It is strange. Either that or the same pigeons follow me around all the doggone place. But,
maybe that's it.
I don't know why my eyes are drawn to their doggone feet. All of a sudden,
I just haven't. I don't know that I've really looked at their feet, but now I will.
Now I will.
I'm telling you, folks.
You've just ruined me.
I don't know why.
What are you staring at, man? A pigeon's foot. This guy put it in my head.
He's got 2.5 toes. Damn. You know what? You guys make fun of me for my food palate.
Or lack thereof.
But you know what? I'm not the only one. There's a handful of foods here in this very country that the rest of the world can't even stand. Which brings us to...
The Men's Room Top 10. The Men's Room Top 10. American foods that the rest of the world can't stomach. I agree. I'm not sure what spam is either. But there's one thing. I shall be damned if I will stand here and take. This chaps my hide. The rest of the world, you're like cavemen if you don't like the perfect protein paired with the perfect sweetness of a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Amen.
Mm-hmm.
I will fight all of you.
I agree. That is one that thankfully it sounds weird and kind of does turn the stomach for them.
It does.
They don't get it until they take a bite. And they're like, oh.
Yeah, you just took a bite of heaven.
Right. That's what that all is about. Which, the fact that it's such a craze over here, how have they not tried it? You know about it. You know it sounds weird. Give it a go.
Sometimes, though, when you grow up with certain things, right? Like, I've never met an Australian who doesn't like Vegemite.
But I've never met an American who does.
That's fair.
Right? I mean, honestly, you'll try
it's a
it.
spread.
But because they'll say, man, it's a spread. And I'm like, all right, dude, cool, I'll try that. Because, if you talk to someone from Australia, they sing his praises.
Right.
And I bit into it, and I'm like, I don't even understand what's happening in my mouth.
Right. You know what else is a spread? Nutella. One of the two of them you can eat out of the can.
There you go.
10 American foods that the rest of the world just can't stomach.
I don't know why. Picturing Mike in his recliner just eating Nutella out of the jar.
Go Kraken.
Gotta wipe it on my shirt and change the channel.
Wipes out of town. I'm eating Nutella straight out of the jar. That's how I live, honey.
We need more graham crackers, baby.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Number 10 being grits. Admittedly, I've never had grits. I know that that's a staple in this country.
Well, the name doesn't help.
It really doesn't.
No, I mean, it's not bad. If you like them, you like them.
They're fun. There's nothing exciting about them.
If you like grits, you like grits.
They're
it's almost like,
potatoes, is that right?
If you like cream of wheat, you like cream of wheat.
Right.
There's certain foods like...
Yeah, I don't know that I'd say it's like potatoes. I mean, it's a grain, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it's...
Okay. It's a grain meal. I know that, right?
And look, they're pretty plain.
But that's why people add things, right?
You
Shrimp
salt them,
and grits.
sugar. You can use Old Bay. I would always use hot sauce.
So it's kind of like a tofu. It's just a bland mass that just takes on flavor.
Yeah, if you don't like them, somehow grits was always a thing, but you either lived in like DC or Texas. You're killing me. I don't know what you're saying.
It's me, dude. I'm just scratching my chin.
All right, I thought you said something about beard.
Nope.
But now all of a sudden, grits have become like chic.
I know, just so they can jack up the price. You go to restaurants now, and it's like they'll offer shrimp and grits, and not just grits, but shrimp and grits. And we did this with grits, and again, it is kind of like the potato in the sense of it's just this versatile thing.
This is why I'm convinced that rich people aren't actually rich. I think that they're just frugal and cheap people, but they just find a way to make it look fancy.
So we paid more for tater tots and grits.
Yeah. You're not wrong.
You know what I mean? You guys talk about Converse all the doggone time. Yeah. Oh, now Converse are stylish. I think a bunch of influencers, as it were, found a way to just bougie up some Converse.
That's pretty much it.
Look at Champion.
Yes.
Like when I was a kid, Champion was a big brand. By the time I got to high school, nobody wore Champion. Mm-hmm. Right? It was like our gym shorts were Champion brand. And then for years, it was like super not cool, and it was cheap. Now it's fashionable and expensive again.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Number 9, root beer.
I do not like root beer, so...
Really?
I love root beer.
I don't.
Well, it's definitely a United States thing.
Yeah. I do not like it.
At any given time, there's probably a can of root beer in my refrigerator.
Me too.
I feel it.
That and a Dr. Pepper, which are very polarizing drinks. Same with Mountain Dew, I guess. That's polarizing.
I get you.
I'll drink a Mountain Dew. I'm currently boycotting Dr. Pepper. The hell with Texas.
Oh, good call. Good call. Man, and I don't think about root beer all the time, but I don't know that I have ever turned down a root beer float. You've got a nice
root beer float I can get through, but a root beer now.
Man, there was one time I was at an auction. This was the first time I ever actually considered this. They had boozy root beer floats. They had like rum in them or something like
some
that.
Some of the high-end burger joints, they'll do that.
Oh, dude, it was so good. I was putting those doggone things away. Number 8, corn dogs of the 10 American foods that the rest of the world can't stomach.
I think you need to try all these things at least once and determine for yourself.
I enjoy corn dog, but I can understand why people would be like, no, thank you.
Yeah. And that's basically what they were saying, is that it was too much.
Well, cornbread is basically a United States thing anyway.
Sure. But why not just have cornbread and then a wiener? Why is it on a stick?
Because that's how we roll.
Man, Ted, back to the grits and things getting popular.
Grits are corn, my bad.
But hush puppies. I would really appreciate if that kind of had a resurgence as far as the popularity of just,
sure,
good trash food.
Hush puppies. I think honestly the corn dog was just again a fair food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm saying that's their thing, is that they don't get why it's on a stick with a wiener inside of cornbread. They just don't get it.
All right.
Number 7, biscuits and gravy.
Oh, come on.
That's a classic breakfast. That's a breakfast of champions right there.
Well, a traditional biscuit, again, that's straight U.S.
But it's just something savory on bread. I mean, that's really the long and short of it, right? That's just how we choose to present it, and it's biscuits and gravy.
Neither of them are acceptable separate, yet combined.
Yeah. Hey, look, beans on toast does not sound good until you try it.
Beans on toast.
But it's legitimately just beans on toast.
Yeah.
We talking like pork and beans? Or we talking just red beans?
English breakfast.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay.
I don't know. Biscuits and gravy to me is still kind of overrated.
It depends on the gravy. I think the gravy makes the big difference in that. But
gravy's everything.
Yep, totally.
Yeah.
I'm just an egg guy when I go to breakfast. I'm an egg guy.
I like the biscuits and gravy. I also will get a side of eggs.
I also assume that if you're having biscuits and gravy for breakfast, you're not doing a doggone thing for the day.
Well, they might not know that. But, Mike, what you're saying is true.
Yes.
Same with chicken.
You're not doing much more.
You are shutting down.
Same thing with the chicken fried steak.
Yep.
Yes. Or even chicken and waffles.
Good night.
I don't mind chicken and waffles. I feel like the waffle, you can still move around. As far as the breakfast bread goes, I feel like the waffle's the lightest.
My kid is falling in love with freaking chicken and waffles now.
Nice.
All right.
He did it. They were doing something at the school, so my wife hooked him up, made it, took it to the school. All the kids fell in love. His birthday's on Monday. He wants chicken and waffles.
Good
I'm
man.
Like, okay.
Yeah.
What time would he be eating these chicken and
waffles? Number 6, meatloaf.
All right.
We barely mastered meatloaf here.
But look, man.
What do you mean? There's a lot of people. Growing up, meatloaf was the lame food. It was the food that never was gotten right. Moms would burn it. They'd make it bland. They would.
When my mom's in town, that is the first thing I ask her. Will you make a meatloaf? And
my mom made a meatloaf. Yeah.
Yeah. Why you crapping on her mom?
I'm not at all, man. My mom made a great meatloaf, but I also knew that I was the outlier.
All right.
She once made some with some jalapenos in it one time. Doggone it, that was good, dude.
I do enjoy meatloaf. I did not as a kid, but again, I realized my mom was a terrible cook. I mean, seriously. So there's a lot of foods I did not think I liked, and then I tried someone else's version of the same thing. I'm like, wait, is this what it's supposed to taste like? They're like, yeah. I'm like,
you ever have a meatloaf sandwich on toast with ketchup?
Yes, God almighty.
Yes, man. Let's get it. I'm getting hungry.
10 American foods that the rest of the rest of the world can't stomach. Number 5, sweet potato casserole with marshmallows.
Oh, man.
It's just sweet.
Right. Get over it. It's a great thing.
I wonder if it's a texture thing in that sense.
Maybe because it's a potato, so you expect it to be starchy and
it's mushy. But I could eat that all day.
Oh yeah.
I also think that's one of those things too from the outside world. Like it's hard to understand, but also it's like we literally eat it once a year.
That is a good point.
Yeah. Like outside of Thanksgiving, and I eat plenty of sweet.
We just tossed it out there.
Right, I eat plenty of sweet potatoes, but I never go. I'm going to put some marshmallows and brown sugar in these.
There is a 6-week window where we do that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Number 4, Kool-Aid.
Really?
They can't stomach Kool-Aid.
I mean, it's just sugar and water, man. That's with some artificial flavor.
That sounds like a very American thing. Just sugar and water.
That is super American.
What is this list of people that don't live here?
Yeah,
around the world.
The rest of the world can't stomach these American foods.
Yeah. Well, this is why we're going to build a wall around the whole country.
Damn right.
You don't make fun of Kool-Aid.
Yeah. Oh, you know who can make it out of that wall? The Kool-Aid man.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
You've crossed the line.
Somebody
you
here
crap on biscuits and gravy, not Kool-Aid.
Somebody points out corn dogs are on a stick so they can dip it in the batter. It makes perfect sense when you say it out loud.
Number 3, chicken fried steak.
Oh, no way.
10 American foods that the rest of the world can't stomach.
Man.
But it's kind of funny they say that because you order Chinese food, and while the spices are different, if you get like General Tso's or something, it's not that much.
Right.
The taste is different, but the general process is about the same.
Schnitzel, chicken.
Right, exactly. Exactly, man.
It's not too far off from a lot of things. It's just chicken.
Yeah, you're right. It's not that far from a schnitzel.
Number 2.
When's the last time anybody in here had chicken fried steak?
It's been a hot minute.
I debated it. Where the hell were we?
It's back to what Mike said. You just better not have anything to do for the rest of the day, so it's kind of hard to do that.
But literally, in the last 4 or 5, my wife and I were somewhere, it was on the menu, and I heavily debated getting it.
All right.
But didn't, to your point, Miles, because it was just too heavy. I'm like, man, I know it'd be good.
That
but
would be a
early.
good breakfast for dinner option.
I agree. I'm just going to watch TV the rest of the night,
Number 2, Sloppy Joe's.
All right, somebody up here said Sloppy Joe's. I get it.
Man,
I mean,
love
the name is not going to get anyone excited if you don't know what it is. I understand that, but the meal itself is tremendous.
It is much better than a loose meat sandwich from the Midwest.
Yes.
Which is just ground beef.
Yeah. No.
It's been way too long. I got to have Sloppy Joe's.
I know. Every time we read one of these lists, I look at you and I go, I'll make a manwich this weekend. I never do it. I really might make them Friday.
We got to get this done.
Somebody here says, I knew a guy who would make a corned beef meatloaf. It was amazing.
That sounds
ridiculous.
Damn. But then the number 1 food that the rest of the world can't stomach, that comes from right here in America.
Cool Whip. Man, I love Cool Whip.
Cool Whip. Man, we loved Cool Whip as a kid.
Sure.
What person as a kid didn't go into the fridge and just open up the tub?
But I think the difference is this. If you grow up with Cool Whip, then you know Cool Whip to be this thing. Anywhere else, they would actually have whipped cream, where someone took cream and actually whipped it.
Yeah.
So I think if you try Cool Whip as an adult, knowing what whipped cream is, it just tastes like aerosol.
Yeah, it's kind of like Peeps. You know Peeps are going to show up before Easter. Cool Whip shows up before Thanksgiving and lasts throughout the
Correct. A man in Kansas was arrested for DUI, and you'll never believe what he was wearing, Miles.
What was he wearing, Mike?
Some would say it's a beak, but I'll tell you all about it at 5:50.
Thank you, sir. Headlines are coming up at 5:50. In the meantime, let's get a contestant on the line for Profile This at 206-803-ROCK.
I was scared the night you overdosed, but I was prepared. I brought naloxone with me, and I knew how to use it. I held your hand tight when you woke up, because I wanted you to feel safe. Your life is worth saving, friend, and I would save it again if I had to.
Naloxone can reverse an opioid or fentanyl overdose. Carry it with you. For more info, go to PreventOverdoseWA.org. A message from the Washington State Department of Health.
Hey y'all, it's Garth. I love the country music family. I love the country music family of artists and the country music family of songs. Some of the greatest artists to ever grace music are under the flag of country music. And some of the greatest songs in music history are under the flag of country music. The Big 615, you're going to hear the newest that country music has to offer. At the same time, you're going to hear the newest that the country classics have to offer. I want to hear the new single from George Strait, and I want to hear it right beside the new single from Luke Combs. And I think the country music family is one of those families that is very inclusive and wants both the established artists and the new artists to be side by side in this thing we call country music.
Download the TuneIn app from the App Store. That's TuneIn. And by the way, yes, it's free. You can also ask your device to play the Big 615 on TuneIn.
Are you dealing with a personal injury? Don't go it alone. Turn to the experienced team at Phillips Law Firm. Their attorneys have helped thousands of clients get the compensation they deserve. Call Phillips Law Firm now. Call 1-800-JUSTICE or visit justiceforyou.com.
Hey, it's Mike Hawk. Join me every Thursday at 1 p.m. exclusively on the Odyssey app as we go live with Odyssey. Join in on the action as we cover interesting facts, top 10 lists, and some fun new games. Follow the men's room page on the Odyssey app and join in all the fun Thursday afternoons at 1.
All right, we made it to drinking time.
Somebody out there deserves to be recognized. And the men's room knows just who it is. So to you, we say, bottoms up, sailor. You're the toast of our shot of the day.
Every time it is, as usual, we head to the drink desk and Steve will throw a hill to find out who we're toasting.
Yes, indeed. And today we toast Detroit Tigers outfielder Akil Baddoo. Now, on Monday, the Tigers, they were playing the Cleveland Guardians. Well, Akil, he'd gotten a base hit. You already know where this is going, Mike.
I do, man.
He'd gotten a base hit, but he decided, you know what, I'm going to get greedy, made an attempt to steal second base. Well, Guardians catcher Mike Zunino, he fired the ball to second baseman Andre Jimenez, but he missed. Completely missed. Instead, the ball smashed squarely into Akil's junk. Yes, he was in fact hurt, but to add insult to injury, The ball bounced off of his meat hammer and into the glove of Jimenez, who then tagged him out at second. Think about that, man. You get hit, just right in the satchel, man. This is from a professional baseball player throwing this ball. It bounces off.
It was almost like pool.
Right, but it bounces off of your D, goes into the glove of the second baseman, who he'd missed entirely. Then the guy tags your ass out, so all that.
Yeah, the white ball hits two other balls.
Right.
And then the
ricochets up, and you get tagged out.
Scratch. Sanity.
But to his credit, man, he stayed in the game. He was hurt. Not injured, but he was hurt, stayed in the game. And by the way, his team won. So we pour this booze, and we drink this booze because we think it's yummy.
Yummy!
So over the tongue and down the throat to party in our tummies. Down the hola bichola!
The Men's Room presents Profile This.
Hey, Stephen Throwhill, could you please tell everyone how Profile This is played?
Oh, I sure can, Miles. It's a simple game where we share with you a real-life news story, something that happened right here on planet Earth. And as you listen to the story, based on the stereotypes you believe to be true of people and the decisions that people make, we'll ask you what it is you think makes the story a story. Hello, Phil. Welcome to the Men's Room.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Hola. Welcome to the program. Phil, you understand how this here game is played?
I think so.
Well, you have your choice of one of four categories. We have the wonderful world of drugs. We have bite me. In other words, what did someone find in their food? Interior decorating, where you guess the foreign object that ended up on the inside of someone. And finally, hit me with your best shot, where you guess the unconventional weapon that someone chose to use as a weapon.
Oh, man, that's tough. Shoot. Let's go with bite me.
All right.
Eat it. Get yourself an egg and beat it.
All right, here is your story. Now, every kid heard the myth that if you make soda and Pop Rocks, your stomach will explode. That's not exactly true, but this might do some damage. No soda required. A 9-year-old kid in North Carolina, he ended up in the ER on New Year's Eve after he thought he was eating Pop Rocks, but it turns out it was something else. His name is Connor Taylor, and he was hanging out with his cousins. Their parents bought some candy for him, and they were all eating it. Well, Connor ripped open a pouch of what he thought were Pop Rocks, tossed some into his mouth, but it didn't pop. He was disappointed, so he ate some more. Then, instead of popping, they started to burn. So his mom checked the package, and it was actually a pouch of something else entirely. So the pouches, they say, do kind of look similar, especially to a 9-year-old. But the adult who bought them says they were mixed into a bin full of Pop Rocks. Oh, because they did not notice that the pouch was different. Now, the good news, Connor's okay. Lab tests showed he'd been exposed to an unusual amount of toxic chemicals. So he was in the hospital overnight, but all his levels returned to normal the next day. So the question is, what did he pop into his mouth that he thought were Pop Rocks that were not Pop Rocks? Was it campfire flame colorant, aquarium gravel, kitty litter, or de-icer? So again, your four choices: was it flame colorant, aquarium gravel, kitty litter, or de-icer?
And how sick did he get?
He got sick enough. He went to the hospital overnight. He was fine the next day. But I guess the pouches look like Pop Rocks. And again, you're 9. And the pouch was in with a group of Pop Rocks. So he assumed they were Pop Rocks.
See, I'm thinking of like the Pop Rocks are that bad. It's in like a Kool-Aid packet almost.
Yeah.
So I don't think kitty litter would fit into that. I'm going to go with the campfire flame colorant.
Okay.
What was the second choice, Steve?
The second choice you had was, hold on, put the page here, aquarium gravel.
I mean, aquarium gravel to me always looked more like runts. Runts?
A little bit.
No,
yeah.
no.
Okay.
Nerds. Thank you, Mike.
Nerds.
I did enjoy runts, though.
Based on the fact, Phil, since you're going to take the campfire flame colorant and based on the size of the aquarium gravel and kitty litter and the chemical compound of it, I'm going to pick de-icer.
I'm with him. I think it's the weird flame stuff.
You're on the campfire colorant.
Flame colorant, yes.
Yeah, the flame stuff.
All right, what did he eat instead of Pop Rocks? Yeah, was it campfire flame colorant, aquarium gravel, kitty litter, or de-icer? We'll find out next.
That was a tease. Whether you're doing a dance to your favorite artist in the office parking lot, are being guided into Warrior 1 in the break room before your shift. Whether you're running on your Peloton tread at your mom's house while she watches the baby, or counting your breaths on the subway.
Inhaling and long exhale out.
Peloton is for all of us, wherever we are, whenever we need it. Download the free Peloton app today. Peloton app available through free tier or paid subscription starting at $12.99 per month.
99.9 KISW. We return to the men's room with Miles and Thrill.
All right, categories. Bite me on profile this. We got a 9-year-old boy. He went to the ER after thinking that he was eating Pop Rocks. Instead, he was something completely different. So the question is, was it campfire flame colorant, an aquarium gravel thing, kitty litter, or de-icer?
And that is the very question that we posed to our friend Phil, who has since hung up. Miles, you went with de-icer.
Yes, because of the chemical component.
It was not de-icer. And Phil ended up agreeing with D. Ted Smith, or actually D. Ted Smith agreed with Phil.
Yeah, Phil took the lead. I just followed.
And went with the campfire flame colorant, which I did not know existed, but yeah, that's exactly what
Okay.
I mean, you shouldn't eat it, but it is pretty cool.
I've never seen it. Is it?
Oh, yeah. The flames are like all different colors now.
So it's like fireworks, more or less, as far as the colors you can create.
Yeah, right. Like nothing is exploding.
Right.
You just put them in there, and it's like different color flames and stuff. Look, not sure it's good for you to even be looking at it because probably some weird chemicals. But it is awesome.
I cannot believe, though. So keep in mind, in this particular case with this poor kid, it's not like he just assumed they were Pop Rocks. The adult had bought a bunch of Pop Rocks and put it in the same basket with the rest of the Pop Rocks.
I mean, the only thing I can fathom is that maybe you said, "Hey, we're taking the Pop Rocks to the fire."
Right. This is my camping kit.
Yeah, man.
I'm just trying.
Yeah, I know. Damn, man.
Now for all TV news all the time, it is time for TV Time with Ted.
And now, because your pathetic life is confined to countless hours in front of a talking box, the men's room presents TV Time with Ted.
First of all, I have to say, I've seen a lot of sporting events in person. While the Kraken didn't win last night, playoff hockey in person is awesome.
Even watching it on TV, it is so intense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you get a sense of what's going on at Climate Pledge as it was. But to be there, how loud is that place, man?
It was rocking and rolling. I was pretty proud of all the Kraken fans. Especially in the first and second period, there was just some lulls where the team just...
Yeah, we're getting demolished, for sure.
Yeah, and the fans would start getting into it. But, I really lost it when we didn't get that goaltender interference.
That was a little bit weird.
Yeah.
It was split between the announcers.
Yeah, because the goal counted.
Right, and then there's a penalty as well, right? Because for delay of game, because you challenged it. So, I mean, that was a 2-goal swing within a minute and a half that really just kind of sucked some of the wind out of that.
It really did.
Yeah. But with that said, I was talking to some random people in the monorail line afterwards. By the way, super Seattle guy, monorail to the light rail.
Mm-hmm. Seattle rail man.
I am running the rails. Holding the doors open. But I was talking to some dudes in that line. We were saying the same thing. Hockey. It's a 7-game series.
That's it.
Right? You won the last series in 7 games. I'm like, all right, 2-2. I've seen some people, the world is, the sky is falling. Now, easy now, folks. This is how it goes.
Talk to the Bruins.
Yeah, right.
We broke the record for the most wins during the regular season. We're up 3-0 in a 7-game series. In the first series, they lost.
Yeah.
Right? Just keep playing, man. That's it. Keep playing.
Ran into a Panthers fan last night. It was pretty funny. Yeah. She was like, yeah. I was like, that's a old school Panthers jersey. You must have lived in Florida. She was like, yeah, it's vintage. And she was like, I'm vintage too. I was like, all right, you're 66. All right. But it was it just stuck out of me. I was like, Panthers jersey.
Yeah.
Because generally when you go to a hockey game or NFL games, I see it the most. Other teams' fans will wear their gear.
Correct.
You know what I mean? And I get it. Some people are against it. I used to. I don't really care either way. If you're, you know what I mean?
What
I know
you're saying
it's not
is
your
I'm
thing.
a football fan.
Correct.
Right? Not necessarily wearing an enemy jersey that day. I'll tell you what. When we went to the Super Bowl, 2012, we're in New Orleans, and it's one of the coolest things, I honestly thought, right? So, obviously, there's a lot of Ravens fans. Obviously, there's a lot of 49ers fans. But when you went into the stadium, Jets jerseys, Bengals jerseys,
everything,
Titans jerseys, Seahawks,
all the pre-parties.
Yeah, we are fans of the NFL. This is my team. I thought that was pretty cool.
Right, and that's one thing that kind of bummed me out about Germany. I wanted to get down there earlier to drink some beers because foreign fans, too. Like, when I was in London, like, we went to, like, the official stuff beforehand. And, I mean, there was so many different, like, jerseys.
I will be going to London this year, Ted.
Oh, nice.
That's how I woke up this morning, all right? So I am dead asleep. My wife's like, hey, get up. Like, all right, next words out of her mouth. The Ravens are playing the Titans on October 15th in London. I said, we're going. She's like, just want to make sure. That's all I needed.
All right.
Done and done. Right?
Yeah.
That's an excuse. London's a fun time, a great place, man. But, yeah, that's... Yeah,
it is. And the Brits that like football wear all different jerseys. My point is, like, last night was the first sporting event I've been to in a while. That woman had on a Panthers jersey, but that had to be about the only other hockey jersey I saw.
I'm sure.
Besides Kraken gear.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, so, yeah, it's pretty cool.
Also downtown. I mean, it was Mariners jerseys and Kraken jerseys everywhere.
Yeah, man. And it's strange because usually the hockey games start a little later. So by the time I get out of here and get on that monorail, it's packed.
Of course.
And I was sitting on the monorail, plenty of room, and I was like, oh, man, they're dropping that puck soon. But it was cool. Talked to a son and his dad from the east side. Talked to another guy that had on, like, Kraken, like, almost like, you ever see, like, camouflage? It's, like, black.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yeah.
Oh, yeah. The Ravens probably have.
Yeah, I was going to say, come on, man. Who are you talking
and it looked awesome.
Yeah, I hate to be this guy, but there is always something cool about jumping on the monorail. Because you're going to something.
Yeah.
And that's a great ride there to get there, you know?
And the monorail is old school, right? And it kind of reminds people of old school stuff. Speaking of, we got a list here of the 15 best 90 cartoons.
Okay.
Now, almost all of these I would have seen. You guys might have just kind of been out of it.
Probably, yeah.
You'll recognize some of them. Mike, I'm interested to see where you're on this list.
All right, here we go.
Number 15, Darkwing Duck.
I actually watched Darkwing Duck. That cartoon cracked me the hell up.
Yeah, and Darkwing Duck, I don't remember it being particularly for children.
It was, I mean,
it was just like a 90s cartoon.
What I loved about Darkwing Duck, when dude changed into Darkwing Duck, like anything, he has a monologue a little bit to announce it. But it was one of my favorite. I am the batteries that are not included. I am the fingernails on the chalkboard of your soul. I love that one.
I remember it being on, but we didn't really ever watch it. That was a WB cartoon, right?
Yeah.
We didn't watch a whole lot of the WB cartoons.
Yeah. I don't know. It feels weird when you said it like that. Was that one of those WB ones?
I'm just saying that different channels hit different, man.
Mm-hmm. I used to watch a few things on WB, Mike.
Oh, you didn't like the frog. I see.
He liked the frog.
I wasn't an Animaniacs guy, right?
Oh, come on.
No,
that's another fine 90s cartoon. And
it
look,
was fine. There was nothing wrong with it. It just wasn't my favorite.
Some of the others on the list. Dexter's Laboratory.
Loved that show.
All right, see, that one didn't ring a bell for me.
Oh, yeah, that was a Cartoon Network show. That was one of my favorites, man. Dexter is this kid who I don't remember what grade he's in, but he's some super genius.
Yeah,
he has a laboratory in his room, and his moron sister Dee Dee keeps breaking stuff in his lab.
Spider-Man makes the list.
All right.
I think that might have been Powerpuff Girls.
Yeah, I do remember that from my kids.
Them. Yep. I never watched it, but my God, they were everywhere for a hot minute.
My sisters watched that one a lot.
Yep. Did you guys ever watch Doug?
Oh, love Doug.
Doug, I like too. That was the Nickelodeon one, I think, right?
Yes.
It was Doug, yeah.
Doug.
The Wild Thornberry.
Yep. That was.
I remember the name. What was that even about?
So this is a family. The dad is played by Tim Curry, Nigel Thornberry, and he's a nature commentary type of guy. Right? We're here in the African savannah, and his wife was the one that filmed it, and his kids were there along with it, and they lived in this RV camper that could go on all terrains, and they just go everywhere. And the main kid, Eliza, could talk to animals. Was the whole thing?
Oh, of course, that comes in very handy.
So right, her dad's got this nature show, but she can't tell anybody. So, but she gets in these amazing shots of these animals just by being able to talk to them.
Magic School Bus.
Oh, classic.
Yeah,
all day.
Yeah,
that was one of them PBS cartoons, Ted.
Yeah. Well, there's been a couple of those school buses, Mike. So tune in and drop out.
Wow.
You like that?
Yeah.
That's a Timothy Leary reference.
It
is. I know everybody in here has seen this one. It shocks me that this show started when I was in high school. I remember begging for the CDs. I wanted to hear Chocolate Salty South Park.
South Park.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man. That was crazy. I mean, I remember we had like a whole themed Christmas with
Mr. Hanky.
Mr. Hanky, the Christmas poo.
I will say I remember seeing that episode more than any other episode because I was watching my buddy Leon. We're already stoned. We're already laughing at the show. And when they brought up the Christmas poo, we were like, this is the greatest cartoon I've ever seen.
I would say to this day, my favorite episodes are any episode that has Tally.
Tally, oh yeah. That show got on my radar. My friends started watching it, but it was, I lived in a household where it was a little too mature for me. But as I got into high school, the first episode that I watched was the World of Warcraft episode, and I laughed my ass off, and I was hooked ever since.
Pokemon. The cartoon.
Oh, yeah. I was in on the first generation. I watched that. I watched every episode of that show.
I don't know why I say it like that every time. Pokemon.
Hey,
watching the Pokemon.
You got the Pokemon. Gotta catch them all. Shama. Sorry.
You got to catch them all. Another classic cartoon, Rugrats.
Oh yeah. That was probably my favorite show as a kid. That was a classic show.
Now we're going to get into the ones that everybody for sure. Well, Mike, I think you've watched some of them, except number 2. You know, with the WB. Batman the Animated Series.
Yes.
Now, that used to be on in the weekday. I remember it was on weekday afternoons at like 3 or 4, right? So like when I was like in 7th and 8th grade and 8th grade again. That was like one I would get home and like watch. That was also the first time I remember Batman being darker.
Yeah.
Because up until that time, all I'd ever seen was
like
reruns of Adam West and Batman.
Right.
And you'd see like that cartoon came out and you're like, oh yeah, like he is brooding and dark.
Brother's got issues.
I only watched that one when I was either at my grandma's house or like at a hotel room.
Yeah, that's fair.
Parents weren't keen on it.
It's not that. It's just that I had my shows that I was watching. I was watching the Rugrats and the Dexter's Laboratories. At the time.
I got you.
Another show that's still all we talked about yesterday, Family Guy.
Yeah.
These are the best 90s cartoons. Number 3 on the list, I'll give you a hint. He's an aardvark.
Oh, yeah, that's Rocco. Rocco's Modern Life.
No, Arthur.
Oh, shoot. My bad.
Rocco.
He's a kangaroo.
Who the hell is Rocco the aardvark?
My bad.
I saw.
Oh, hey, look at Rocco over there, looking like an oddball.
I saw Arthur live at the Baltimore Arena.
Did you?
Yeah.
I saw Peppa Pig live at the Paramount.
Arthur live.
How was Arthur live, Miles?
No different than Dragon Tales. No different than Dora the Explorer.
How many
Disney
did you go to?
Oh my God! Every single one of them.
Did you ever? I'm telling you. Listen to me. If you have children, if you don't, next year around January, February, the Globetrotters will be in town. Go see them.
You're right. They're fun.
An awesome show. I went last year when I was 41, and I was like, why did I ever stop coming to see these guys? it was unbelievable.
Still have never been.
Mike, next year I'll take you.
Let's go, man.
Number 2 on the list, Animaniacs.
Yep.
Yeah,
Again, Mike never watched.
It was great.
I knew of it. It was just not my show.
And then number 1, they still make new episodes today. It's the most dominant children's cartoon that everybody can watch. SpongeBob.
Oh yeah.
God,
SpongeBob SquarePants.
I've had a resurgence with that show, Ted. I'm still not keen on the newer seasons, but I've had a resurgence with that show.
But there's enough. Like I always say this, like there's enough funny stuff in there that it's obviously for children, but it's kind of like Shrek movies.
Right. Well, but just enough then for the adults to pay attention and laugh.
Yeah, and you can find it. And I remember talking to a kid when I was like 17 or 18 at basketball camp, and he's like a little kid. I'm like, what are you watching? He's like SpongeBob SquarePants. I'm like, so what am I, Ted Mesh Shorts? And they're like, what? I was like, that's it? And they're like, yeah, he's a sponge. He's a square shorts.
Same way I heard it. I'm like, and you're watching it. Why?
I know, but then when you watch it, you're like, tell you what, these kids aren't wrong, man. SpongeBob's kind of funny.
My old man hated that show.
Did he?
He couldn't stand listening to it. He hated that show.
Hated SpongeBob.
Hated it.
Huh.
Yeah, he was too man for it, Ted.
Too manly for it. I like that. Let's see. If you're interested in Jeopardy, the Masters, games 5 and 6, that's 8 p.m. tonight if you want to check that out. Other than that, like I've been saying all week, I'll keep saying for a couple weeks, man, playoff hockey, playoff basketball. Mariners already played today.
Yeah.
So
Lakers and Golden State, I believe, tonight.
And it should be an interesting matchup.
Yep.
I'm happy to see LeBron thriving in his 20th season, but I do enjoy watching Golden State.
Yep, both good teams. Thank you, Ted. We appreciate it. You're listening to The Men's Room.
Southern Company is making energy smart and sustainable for their 9 million customers across the country. From modernizing infrastructure to achieving their interim carbon reduction goal 10 years early, Southern Company is committed to building a clean, resilient energy future. Learn more at southerncompany.com/future. Southern Company, building the future of energy.
The Men's Room returns with Miles and Thrill. Now, let's see what's happening in the real world.
All right, here we go. Restaurant opens in England, and you won't care that the food will probably suck. Meanwhile, an English woman starts a dating app with a guarantee that you will have coitus. Alabama man pulled over on a jet ski driving down Highway 98. When your plane departs 25 minutes early, that is not always great. And a man is pulled over drunk, dressed as a can of Bud Light. It is time for your headline.
Now, it's time to hit the headlines. Here's Mike Hawk.
All right, our top story, we go to Kansas, where officers made a bit of a funny arrest there. They pulled the driver over, suspecting him of being under the influence. Field sobriety test concluded that he was indeed intoxicated, but it didn't help the optics of the situation that he was wearing a Bud Light costume.
There's the giveaway.
There's the giveaway right there. Which, I'd be disappointed if you were wearing a Bud Light costume and you weren't a little loaded.
Right, especially on Cinco de Mayo.
For real. Come on now.
Yeah, I mean, him driving with that on alone, like if I'm a cop, they're like, I'm just going to pull this guy over.
Right. Let's just have a talk real quick.
Right, and it's like a slip-over costume. Like, just pop it off when you start. Well, first of all, don't drink and drive. But I'm just saying, like, why are you driving? Like, you're clearly impaired. Why are you driving home dressed as a beer?
Right. Because I would drive home dressed as a beer, Ted.
Yeah.
That just sounds like a good time. In other news, to Utah, where a children's author has a dark story. She's the writer of a book that's meant to help children through the process of grief, should they be subjected to it so early in life, and she did so to honor the memory of her deceased husband. You see, back in 2022, the two of them were celebrating him closing a home with some alcoholic beverages, but things took a turn after she put their child to bed, returning to find him unconscious, unresponsive, and cold to the touch. Unfortunately for our widow, her late husband had revealed to a friend that he had suspected that she would try to poison him, which explains the amount of fentanyl that was found in his vodka from that night. 5 times the lethal dose.
Wow.
She was arrested.
And she wrote a book on how to help kids to grief.
Exactly.
Don't have a homicidal mother. That's the first thing.
That's yeah, right.
And people are always like, man, kids today, they just want to be famous and this and that. Like, this woman killed her husband so she could write a book to get fame.
Right.
And did, like, TV interview. I listened to one of the interviews today. It is chilling how calm and, like,
for real.
She's like, oh, it's been a tough year, but me and my kids got through it. It's like, and that's just, number one, you killed somebody. Number two is, like, people that have had tragic deaths in their family, like, well, don't put them through that.
Right.
That's terrible, man.
Good Lord, man. Drama for Spirit Airlines at Burbank Airport. A passenger blogged about the altercation that he witnessed of enraged passengers who had missed an early departure. Through the back and forth, they ascertained that the gate had made several announcements to the terminal that they were boarding up 5 minutes early to take off, causing several passengers to miss the cutoff time. Though they insisted that they were all waiting at the gate the entire time, never hearing any announcements, some sported cups from the bar nearby, clearly having a drink before their flight to Vegas. They brought a supervisor out to cap things off that actually said, no, we actually closed the gate a minute late by our records. So there's a whole lot of back and forth and a whole lot of screaming and yelling. But I don't know.
I don't know.
That's a whole lot of I don't know what's going on over there, but it sounds like it's fishy, as well as maybe you should be at the gate 5 minutes before it's about to close the gate.
And they could be exactly right. It's just airlines in this country are so bad. Sure. You just don't believe a thing they say.
No, not a one. A New Hampshire woman's dream trip to Bali came to a sudden conclusion. She had enjoyed all of her trip right up until she got to an excursion that gifted her the ability to spend the day with an elephant, swimming with it and riding on its back. The day came to a close, and the trainer, who had been working with the animal for more than 20 years, coached her on how to pose with it, instructing her to put her arm under its trunk. There must have been some error in communication as she put her arm too close to the elephant's mouth, and her arm was pulled in and chewed on by the animal, crushing her arm in the process.
Jeez.
She was taken to the hospital and did get surgery on her arm, half of which was paid for the resort by the time that they stopped responding to calls and emails.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's an elephant, man.
It is. But I will say, I don't expect an elephant to pull my hand in and start crunching down on it.
I don't either, but I just think I don't know what to expect if I'm standing that close to an elephant.
Correct. I also wouldn't stand that close to an elephant for too long. You know, it's one of those where I don't care how well trained you've got the elephant.
they've got the upper hand on size.
That's it. If it decides it doesn't care what you have trained it to do, then that's how it's going to be.
And how many videos and news stories have we seen of elephants going back to being elephants and just not being here anymore, and then they just go off on somebody? Like, I'm okay.
Yeah, elephant just got hungry. Make me beg.
Or did he get...
Let me get peace.
Or did he get thirsty? Bloodthirsty. That's it for your headlines.
Bloodthirsty, yeah.
With that, Mike Hawk is out.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate it. We'll see you next time with the head chef and Ted's Meat and Potatoes. Big Dummy is back. The lovely Taryn Daly is in next.
Yes, indeed. It's all true. But in the meantime, well, we be all about this bitch for 180 seconds or so. So until then, please do what you do best. And for Aletha's sake, stay beautiful.
The Men's Room has been taped before a live studio audience. Wardrobe and makeup provided by Mantastic Limited. This has been a presentation of the Men's Room Radio Network. Oh, man! A Double Flush production.
I was scared the night you overdosed, but I was prepared. I brought naloxone with me, and I knew how to use it. I held your hand tight when you woke up because I wanted you to feel safe. Your life is worth saving, friend, and I would save it again if I had to.
Naloxone can reverse an opioid or fentanyl overdose. Carry it with you. For more info, go to PreventOverdoseWA.org. A message from the Washington State Department of Health.